Hello. Welcome to Dork Tales. This is a playtest of... I'm already losing it. Hi, everybody. How's it going? Do it again. Do it again, Kronk. Do it live. Hi, everybody. Welcome. This is going to be Dork Tales. We're doing a playtest tonight of Girl by Moonlight, a magical girl role-playing game by Andrew Gillis. It's going to be published under Evil Hat Productions, which is a fantastic studio that also develops Band of Blades and, of course, Blades in the Dark, and all of the Forged in the Dark engine stuff. So I'm just going to do a quick sound test because I know that I'm probably coming through okay because I've got my own independent mic, but we've been having some problems with the player mics. So let's just do a quick test and...
Specifically with the player mic!
Mute.
Cut off.
You're cut off. Go home.
I'm done.
Yep.
Go home,
Bye.
kid.
Okay, bye.
It's been fun.
Has it?
I mean...
As I dive out the window.
No, shit.
Come on, volume. Come on. Come on, volume. Come on. Someone talk.
Yes, hello.
Yes, but that is Mike of the Awful Puns.
Someone talk.
Yes, hello.
I think we sound pretty damn good.
All right, so I figured it out. We just have to turn the Zoom on after the stream has begun. So that's the thing. So
It doesn't like the whole, like...
it does when you hit the stream button. It I've got it set to auto record for our YouTube uploads, and that's what causes the problem. So guess what, guys? I'm a techie, which is great because we're playing a science fiction game tonight. Yay! Golf
You're
clap.
a
Golf
techie,
clap.
I'm a
Don't
trekkie.
do the full thing.
Yeah, just
At
golf.
least not next
golf
to
clap.
Matt.
Oh,
The mic.
sorry.
Clap, clap. All right, so tonight we're playing a game called Girl by Moonlight, which is a fantastic game that we playtested once before in a high school setting. This one, we are doing a game called The Sea of Stars. As you can tell, with our now star-themed background. And
And I'm even wearing a star on my necklace.
are you?
It's too small for this.
You're wearing a
screen
star
to
on your
see,
necklace.
But it's a sparkly star.
Caitlin's wearing a complete outfit, and Mike is a
Thing
star.
that I'm using. Oh, actually, this is an outfit that's actually part of a cosplay for the Star Festival.
Ooh. All right, and then I'm Kelly. I'm your director for the night, and that means that we are going to get into the basics of what Girl by Moonlight is. So this is your first time watching. So Girl by Moonlight is a game about the tragic struggles and defiant triumphs of a crew of magical girls against the darkness of an oppressive society, also darkness beyond it, which is pretty good. It explores the heartbreak of denying who you really are and the transcendent power of relationships and community. It's a role-playing game, and over the course of the game, you, three, will improvise the descriptions of a fictional world and its characters. Listen actively to other players, and engage in the game's mechanics and the appropriate moments in play. All players share these responsibilities. The game is collaborative. We all contribute and build on each other's conversation. So the normal etiquette and considerations of having conversations apply. That's a really good thing, because a lot of people talk over people. And not just me. Let's see. Ask questions often. Be open about expressing your ideas and about adjusting them. So you're taking on a protagonist in play, which we're going to go through in a second. A couple of things about the game to keep in mind. So this game runs on 6-sided dice. We'll try to be clear as we're playing for the audience so that you know exactly like what's happening, but I think you'll be able to probably get it. 6s are better than 1s by a long shot. So on a sea of stars, the plot for this one is mecha pilots struggling against the extinction at the hands of the Leviathans. On a Sea of Stars is about institutions and hope in the face of extinction. The protagonists are captive heroes, forced to fight a slowly losing war against an overwhelming enemy, the Leviathans, all while being alienated from the people they protect. They rely on their engines, powerful mecha, to stand a chance against their foes, and these engines in turn are fueled by the emotions of their pilots and the transcendent powers they gain as they work together. For touchstones, refer to Die Buster by Kazuya Tsurumaki and The Vision of Escaflowne by Kazuki Akane. Also, I'm going to be drawing a lot of inspiration from Evangelion, which I would play right now in the background without copyright, but just everybody's thinking it right now. Anyway. Best karaoke song in the world when you're in Japan, by the way, because everyone knows that song. Like,
I actually watched it. I was a Gundam Wing kind of girl.
that's fair.
Me too.
What
I like
Gundam Wing
Eureka
and
7.
Gundam Seed.
Gunbuster? But what
No,
is
Gundam-
what is
Oh,
Gundam?
I just went off the royals.
Yeah.
All right. So basically, Cycle of Play consists normally of 4 different play sections. There's your obligation phase, which is you got to do what you got to do. Either going to school, tuning up your mecha, etc. There's the downtime phases, which when you get to be yourself. There is the mission phase where you actually do stuff. And then there's the fallout, which is the denouement, the come down from the climax of the combat phase or mission phase, depending on. This session, as it is written for a playtest, is going to be a little briefer than that because we're kind of jumping into the action pretty quick. The agenda of the players. So play to find out what happens. Be a fan of the other players, so try to prop them up, and if they need ideas, try to suggest them something. Like, don't talk over them, but give them some ideas. Reveal your inner world. Think about the emotionality of the characters and try to include that in. Hold on, but lightly, so don't plan something like, ooh, and then when this happens, this will happen, and then this will happen, and then this... Don't do that. It's a role-playing game. We're playing to learn what happens. Keep hope in your heart. So try to make this a positive experience. Take risks, but understand that in the end, even a Pyrrhic victory or even a depressing victory is a victory. And that's what this game is. It's winning in spite of everything because of love. See things through a queer lens. That's going to be especially useful in this one because you're playing a bunch of genetically engineered soldier/pilots who are alienated from the rest of humanity, so the queer lens is going to be strong on this one. Speaking of queer lens, a lot of the characters are written as he, she, or they, and we just picked characters based on who sounded cool tonight.
Yeah, basically.
So we'll go through that in a bit. We, for those tuning in, we might not be playing. We'll be playing whatever gender we feel like because it's a role-playing game, and that's a great way to expand on your horizons. But also, it's fun. Plus, like. Mike, I love your nails. All right. There for those listening on podcast form, those are how many inches?
My right are about an inch long.
Just an inch? I always think
Just
they're
an inch.
they
They're
look like
pretty-
3 inches to me.
They're
Like,
pretty short right now, actually. Well, an inch off the nail bed.
oh, is that how it's judged?
Yeah,
Okay.
an inch off the nail bed.
It's not how many inches deep when you stab your enemies.
Yeah, well, then go about an inch in.
Snake.
Because these are super sharp, too.
I bet you don't pick your nose.
Oh my god.
Made that mistake.
Did you?
Did.
Oh
It hurt.
no.
Yes.
Stab yourself in the
14
brain.
stitches later. You come out and there's like, is that brain? Am I a zombie now?
Oh my goodness.
All
Is
right.
this a zombie?
Is this a zombie? A cat is fine.
Is this?
That's a zombie. Ultra Paradise engaged. Oh god, why does Monster come out with these flavors?
Unleash the Ultra Beast.
What does it taste like?
It tastes like a party in Hawaii spit in your mouth.
It's a weird, like, pearish citrus.
Oh.
Yeah, it's citrus, pear. Just finish it. Just down it.
Oh god.
Just get crunk.
This is... It's okay, I'll drive you
Get
home.
low. Get low.
Right?
It's the Ultra Paradise.
Candy.
Isn't that weird though? It's kind of like a
Weird
party spat on your
citrus
face.
Going up on a Monday.
God. Buried on a Sunday? Are we talking? Are we singing Solomon Grundy here?
Oh,
Okay.
Finished.
I finished. Just crush it against your forehead. Unleash your inner Kyle.
I would pay to see that too. It's just, it came down, I could drink it.
I'm pretty sure it would just hurt my head instead.
Well, that's why you got to lean into it with your lower back. It's all thrust.
Yeah.
And then finally back onto the game. You need to embrace the inner darkness. Or pardon me, embrace the darkness. It doesn't have to be inside of you. It could just be in that can that you crush against your forehead. Oh, I didn't work today, so I don't know why I'm this stupid. But hey.
Power to weight ratio.
Oh man.
Well, I did work. And I've also had a lot of energy drink.
That's true. So it's not sponsored. It's time for me to try this
Ooh.
Diet Coke extra caffeine roasted vanilla.
Ooh, I want a sip.
Wow,
Not sponsored.
that was
That
nice.
was satisfying.
That was a violent.
Not sponsored by Evil Hat or Coke, but would accept money from both because this equipment's not cheap. And I am. the hell does that taste like?
Toasted vanilla. No?
See, this is why I like the orange Rockstar Recoveries, because they just taste like orange.
Yeah, it just tastes like vanilla Coke.
And
Yeah.
they aren't carbonated either, which I really
It actually
like
tastes a
about
little
them.
better than normal vanilla Coke because it doesn't quite taste like cough syrup. But I can taste the caffeine.
Yeah.
People say you can't, but I can. Like, it tastes metallic.
Yeah.
You're like, does this taste like it was a really, really, like, bossy can?
You know what it reminds me of? Marshmallows.
Yeah, it's more toasted
'Cause,
marshmallow than anything
big
else.
jumbo marshmallows are essentially like, well, they're basically just gelatin and
We need
vanilla
caffeinated
flavor,
marshmallows,
Yeah.
is what you're
Yeah.
saying.
right?
Oh,
Yeah, it's basically toasted marshmallow.
Yeah, if only as we got so many
I think
brands
that's-
that we're
you know
drinking
what?
out of here.
That's probably the best, like, just like prop for them is like drink toasted marshmallow.
Hashtag Dorktails Energy.
Hashtag dorktailstore.redbubble.com.
Dorktails Energy, now with 18 times the caffeine.
Oh, I should have worn my.
It's just my
leggings.
bathwater.
Oh my god. Ugh.
It'd be sparkly and glittery, to be fair. I use bath
Oh.
bombs when I bathe. Otherwise, I just shower.
Yeah,
We need to
fair.
do something filmed that we actually involve standing up on, so I can actually wear my Dark Tails leggings and show them off.
Just put your feet on the table.
I'm not wearing them right now.
Yeah, I
Okay.
always
Well,
forget
that's a
that
failure
only,
on your part,
I
isn't it?
know, right?
only my
The
top
idea is
half
to
is-
give each other ideas.
Yeah.
I mean, I could get up and change into them right now.
That
No,
sounds like a lot
I-
of work.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
That's
that seems
true.
like too much work.
That involves
It's a
taking
lot.
pants off and putting a new pair of pants on.
And putting pants on is a sin against humanity.
Yeah,
That's true.
like
Your humanity rating is already pretty low,
Oh.
Christine. You don't want to enter a sale.
You don't need to tell them about all the murder.
I didn't tell them about the murders. The murders were implied, as always. Have a disagreement.
Because I always play those characters.
It's true, you do. So I don't actually have the short sheets, but I can. Is there?
Oh, is it right here?
Are those the
Maybe?
ones that I didn't grab?
I think so.
Pass them to me, Caitlin. Yes, good. Oh, I hit them. There we go. All right, we're
think
so
it's fine.
professional.
everything is okay.
All right, so tonight, why don't we go through and we'll go through your characters and we will do the little bit of building that still needs to be done on them, which will be really interactive for those listening in. And so we were supposed to have 4 tonight. Unfortunately, yet again, Amy was supposed to be in the last playtest, but she's not feeling well again. So hopefully she'll be fine by generic on Wednesday, so feel better. And maybe we'll see you tomorrow at Monster Hunter Academia, which is apparently we're doing that tomorrow, and I forgot, so I got to go plot that game.
We love you, Amy.
All right.
And is that going to be a live stream?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And then I
Get live.
think it's
get
going to
live,
be
get live.
a retro like roundtable one though, because we have 5 players for that plus me, and that's going to be fun. Okay.
Oh,
we haven't-
I
yeah,
see
yeah,
what you mean. The
we haven't
setup.
Because
seen
we
the
haven't
roundtable in a while.
done the roundtable setup in like 5 months now.
Has it been that long? That's
No.
crazy.
We have not done the roundtable setup since October.
Oh, really?
That's crazy.
I don't believe so, because once we moved into generic season 2, we've been doing frames
Yeah.
the entire time because it worked so well.
We've
Yes.
done 10 weeks without it. Because I know because our last episode was episode 10 of season 2. And it was season 2 that we started doing this.
That's
I'm
crazy.
pretty sure.
Yeah.
So I think it's been 10 weeks.
Well, it's been more than 10 weeks because
Plus,
we missed weeks.
because of Christmas.
So it's been 3 months.
Yeah.
It's been
Yeah.
3 months since we've done. Anyway, let's go into things that actually matter to this and to the playtest that we're doing. All right, so Sea of Stars, mecha pilots. We already talked about that. So the engines. So basically, each one of you has a mecha that is attached to you called an engine. Engines are they are. It's kind of. They were made. Okay. You know what? I'm just going to jump right in and just read you the premise because it's better structured than my brain is working right now. So you're going to need to remember the following things. The Naval Authority, established as an interim government during the climate crisis. So Earth's gone. We have all moved on in this world. Okay, because we had to. We're looking for a new planet. The Naval Authority is a strict military organization that took charge and basically became the Federation, who monitors humanity as it tries to eke out its life in the stars and find a new home. Okay, they'll do anything they feel they must to secure humanity's future, no matter the cost. And who can really blame them, right? Leviathans. Each Leviathan is a living colony ship containing all that is needed to seed life on a distant world and carry slumbering humans to one day populate that world. The Leviathans are sentient and alive. They turned on their creators when they discovered that their mission would kill them. It is unknown how many Leviathans survived the ensuing conflict. Those that remain inhabit the Mars-Jupiter asteroid belt. What was this called? The Cupier. Isn't it Jupiter?
Cupier belt.
This is the Cupier belt, right?
Yeah.
Why would they just call it? Okay. Modifying themselves for new...
Cupier belt is the edge of the solar system.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, this is the Rovagug belt, but that's a white.
The Orc cloud.
That's the Orc cloud.
Yeah, it's the Orc.
Yeah. The Cupier belt's the one in the middle.
Space is vast.
The solar system's not though. Get on it, scrub. Yeah. All right. So the Leviathans basically have self-actualized, and they're trying to create a world without the need for humans and human interference. The engines were made of similar technology to the Leviathans, much smaller, not fully sentient, but very much alive. The engines were meant to be the shepherds and protectors of the Leviathans on their journeys. They are deeply emotional, prone to attachment to both their pilots and the Leviathans they once escorted. The war was an impossible dilemma for them, and those that remain bear a great burden of grief. The Bastion, which is where you're going to be, is a massive space station orbiting Jupiter's moon Io. Or Io. It's Io. I don't know why I said Io. Its primary purpose is to hold humanity and preserve them in stasis. It also serves as the command center of the Naval Authority, the watchful few guarding the billions that slumber. The station was not built to stand up to conflict. It is vulnerable and fragile like a space station should be.
Yeah. The
flagship, the LSV Herald of Malthus, is the only ship to survive the Leviathan War. It is a mobile shipyard made for the service and maintenance of the Leviathans and other Navy Authority vessels. Now it serves as the base of operations for the few remaining engines. It is understaffed, and the skeleton crew is exhausted, pushed past their limits. And the pilots. Each of you is a pilot specifically engineered before birth and put through extensive testing and training during their childhood to assure the aptitude and compatibility with their engines. Many officers in the Naval Authority consider you to be equipment, not people. You are not permitted to fraternize with the ship's crew, and in theory at least, your relationships with other pilots are closely monitored by your authority handlers. So, some things that we need to talk about here, okay? The institutions of the Bastion are also monsters. That is not literally, but figuratively. So when it comes down to that, we're going to be playing that quite a bit. The Leviathans are seeking to destroy the Bastion from the outside, and the institutions are rotting it from inside. That's kind of the metaphor we're going with here. This is a really interesting game because the players are in on many of the secrets right from the get-go, so that they can lean into certain things to make them more interesting. That's a great roleplay mechanic that I suggest that all games institute if it fits the mood and atmosphere of their table. Okay, so give the engines huge emotional back weight. They cannot communicate directly, but I'll have them their emotions manifest, and you also play that up as well. That their emotions will manifest through you as well. Often these engines must be cajoled or convinced to act at all, or their influences may drive them to contrary actions. And then Leviathans are fundamentally alien, their methods are strange, and utterly unknowable. You can't reconcile them with the institutions. Basically, it's a very yin-yang type of thing, right? There's no way to do that. So, what we're going to do is we're going to go through your sheets and we're going to talk about today's mission, which is Dragon Ball voice?
Yes.
When the Leviathan Icarus set on a suicidal collision course with humanity's last bastion, the crew of the LSV Herald of Malthus must scramble their engines in a desperate last defense. This time, having only recently regrouped at the space station Bastion, which holds the last remnants of humanity, the ragtag forces of the Naval Authority are scrambling to their stations. The Leviathan Icarus was once a part of humanity's great hope, a world-seeding colony ship that would take us to greener pastures far beyond the blasted Earth. Icarus has turned on us, and in 30 minutes' time, it will come crashing into the Bastion and destroy the last remnants of humanity while they slumber in stasis. Humanity's only hope lies with the engines and their pilots. And we'll go there now, because I'm not reading the rest of this paragraph in this voice.
All right. Farah?
Ooh, fair.
Oh.
Yeah, bring her in. That's great.
She's canon.
She
my God.
she is like the Farah canon.
Yes.
Okay, so what we need to answer a couple of questions. So we're unlike last session where we jumped into mission 2 of 3. This is mission 1, so we're just defending the bastion. Okay, so this feels like a very like first-ish episode to me. You know, so you guys have probably only been aware of each other for a little while, but have some very basic relationships. Okay. Some reminders on your sheet. So you have the series ability Heroes of the People. When your crew's mission protects someone or something important, gain 1 dice to the engagement roll. When no innocents are harmed, mark XP. So that basically, when you are doing anything this session against the Leviathans or in the service of the station, you're going to get a bonus dice on that. Period. Because I can see no way that would not apply. Okay. Transcendent abilities. So unlike the other game that we played, where your transcendence was limited to 3 actions taken in your transcendent form, you have some very specific differences based on your engine. So transcendence in this is when you're piloting your engine and doing some cool stuff. What you can do is every engine has a impulse and a virtue. So your virtues. So Christine, what is Himna's engine? Is it Dagon or is it Steigl?
It's Dagon.
Okay, so do you want to pronounce it Dagon or Dagon?
Dagon, I think.
Okay, so
Probably
Dagon.
better.
So Dagon, the guidance engine, has the virtue Bright and the impulse Lonely. Okay, so when you are doing things in line with your, where's that sheet? There are many rules. Okay, so when you are doing something in line with your engine's virtue, you gain an additional +1 dice. So everybody does that. Okay. So for example, if you're doing something that is bright, clever, brave, cursed, or powerful, depending on which one of you has which, you'll gain a bonus dice.
What do you define bright as for virtue?
Using a laser cannon.
Yeah.
I would have said like smarter, intelligent, or clever.
Yeah, strategic.
Okay.
So anything, I would say, but I'll also give it to you if you use something bright, like reflecting sunlight as a weapon or something. I'll give you that. Because it can be both.
That's cute.
Yeah, why not? And then you'll have an impulse there. So Alistair, for example, who Mike is playing under Van, has Imperious. So bossy and commanding, and wounded. So when
bossy and commanding and wounded.
Yeah. So imperious is basically like imperial. It's the same root word. So anytime that you're haughty or bossy or like sovereign in a negative way, then that will apply. When you play into your impulse in the engine, the action does not deplete your actions in transcendence. So, for example, if you use Imperious, let's look up the exact wording of Imperious here, because it actually will apply. Assuming of power or authority without justification, arrogant and domineering. So when you act like a dick, when your engine is the dick engine, it does not lose one of its 3 rounds.
This is the impulse?
This is your impulse. So for you, that is lonely. So if you are,
Does that come up?
I would say if you're doing anything solo, if you're doing anything that ostracizes you or separates you from a plan that the group is going on, that would apply.
So like doing the sacrifice play?
Sacrifice play, definitely. Also, going against a stated plan, where it's like, all right, if we all team up from this angle and you go from a different angle, that separates you from the group. Anything that separates your engine, that's a bad impulse. And then Caitlin, you're playing Cert. That's
Yes.
right. And you're using Oligos.
Yep.
How are you pronouncing that one?
I'm not sure.
Eoligos.
Eoligos?
So you're powerful and cursed. Now, how is cursed going to manifest? So the impulse cursed. That's kind of a rough one.
First.
So I mean, that I'm not going to say that's whenever you swear.
No, but it could be like because I'm
I said
a little
jokingly.
bit. No, I know. I'm a little bit out of track with time, which could be part of my curse.
Okay.
So anytime I'm like, oh, I guess no, that would be a lot. No.
Doomed is another way to look at that. So anytime you do something where you will take damage or it will kind of signify that you're on your way out, that definitely will probably mark as well. But I don't know how you're going to play that in a because lonely makes sense, imperious makes sense in an active presentation because it's you playing both the engine and yourself, right? So think about if you can think of some ways that might apply.
I'll do my best. Yeah.
And then every engine also has one additional secret impulse. When you make a roll, you can I can offer you a dark bargain. A dark bargain gives you a bonus to your dice roll, but you have to take what I give you. So when this happens, I reveal a new impulse that is permanently added to your sheet. I have a list of them here, but it could be something like, we're going with Evangelion, so feral or hungry. So your engine likes to eat things like people. Oh, God.
Yes.
I don't think this is supposed to be Attack on Titan.
Dun, 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 dun.
Attack on Bastion.
Attack on Bastion.
Oh,
I wish Bastion. We have a friend named Bastion. I wish Bastion would tune in right now. That would be great. Attack on
We
you.
should send
Oh
them
my
this
God.
episode in particular, the link, and go.
We're protecting you. Actually, they would love this. Like all of the queer positivity would really be up their alley
It is super true.
because they're super queer.
Yeah.
It's like they would wear a cape because they're super queer.
Oh my god! Okay, it took me a little while to like figure that out.
No, they're amazing, but like actually, I keep not being able to see them whenever they visit. It's frustrating. Okay, so the goal of this game is going to be to defend the last bastion, and then so it's up to you. So it says right now that in 30 minutes, this Leviathan is going to crash in. Do you want to have that be a surprise, or do you want to jump in with that being known and try to just run the combat and mission portion?
I think it would probably, if it's 30 minutes, it'd probably be known. I'm sure.
Yeah, like we
Yeah.
know about it. You know, we could do that, and then we run like downtime afterwards
If you survive.
if we survive.
Okay.
Downtime could be the reward for surviving.
Okay.
You know, as is most of daily life after work.
It's true. Or what we could do, I was thinking, is like in the middle. I mean, it might be a little bit jarring and maybe weird for a tabletop, but in the middle of battle, if you're like, okay, I've got this one chance to make it, and then you like flashback.
I'm fine doing flashbacks. Flashbacks are something that a lot of Forged in the Dark and their cousin Powered by the Apocalypse do love, and I love doing them if they're thematically appropriate, and I think that would be great. So we'll see how the game goes in that regard.
Fair.
So we've got about 5 more minutes of setup probably, where we just need to go through your sheet, and there are some questions on your sheet that I think should be answered.
Questions.
Yes. So if you flip down,
Oh.
they're about other players. I believe they're in pink.
No, we just have the one sheet.
Well, there's questions right here.
Yeah, the ones.
Are they in blue? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Then the question's up at the top of your sheet.
This guy.
It's kind of right after your description.
Yes.
It's in,
Okay.
The pink threw me off.
So why don't we go through and do a quick introduction of your characters and how you see them. So why don't we start on the end? Mike, talk about Van.
Hello. As you know, I'm Mike. I am playing the character Van. She is the pilot of the last combat engine, Alistair. I kind of imagine her as the kind of like classic stereotypical stoic like fighter pilot, you know, like who's seen all the combat,
Is she a Sundari?
basically.
Okay.
You know, the kind of like stoic pilot who's seen all the combat, and now they're faced with this room full of young, eager people who are like, yeah, let's go into combat because it's great. And they're just like, really?
Does she have any interesting scars?
Probably, I'm not sure. I
Any
haven't thought
facial
about
scars? Because if it's anime, that's all that matters.
That is true. It's probably like a scar like over here.
Okay,
You know,
so
like anime scars always are.
so eye scar and am I assuming that the short hair with the eye cover,
Yeah.
like the hair that goes woof, and yet she can still see through it, but there's a scar underneath the hair.
Yes.
Eye scar under hair, and because it is incredibly important to me, what color hair? Because you have the entire spectrum.
I'd say probably like a bright purple.
Purple.
Yeah.
Okay, so purple hair. If anybody wants to draw this, honestly, I feel that like I think that this game is almost like at the point like that the playtests have gone really well. I think that we could actually play this as a series, like not this game, but a game. Anyway, let's continue down the line.
Yeah. Oh, hey, I'm playing Cert. He, him. Sorry, am I just reading my whole description here, or?
Whatever you want.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
So, Cert is recently returned from a deep space scouting mission aboard the first engine ever made, Eologos. When he first left, humanity still lived on the dying Earth. The Leviathan project was just beginning, and there was hope. Cert's prolonged exposure to the experimental drive in Eologos has left him out of phase with the normal flow of time. Disoriented, returning to find a military regime, Cert is unable to accept this bleak new world.
Okay.
I'm wearing blue, so his hair is probably blue.
Blue, of course.
Anime style, yeah.
Nice.
Dark blue or light blue?
Dark blue.
Yeah, we're talking main character hair.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
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 Not that you're all not main characters,
But yeah.
okay, sounds good. So let's see. So you're Tracer. You're basically Tracer. Let's be fair.
Perfect.
Ore wa time travel da.
Yeah, do you want to kick that into the bigger
Yeah.
the bigger screen? Yes, that's what I'm
Ah.
talking about.
Perfect.
So pretty.
It's true. I'm just gonna check something real quick.
Honey, we always pretty.
No.
Oh, you're always pretty.
It's almost exciting to see it on screen still. It's like, oh, why does he look good? Okay.
It's true.
Hi.
And I realize
Like,
how I'm
ooh, my
slouching.
stubble just looks like a weird shadow
No.
covering my multiple chins.
You only have one.
Yeah.
All right, and but no shaming. If you want to have more chins, we can install more.
To the cheese.
All right, and let's finish up with Pinky.
Yeah, the brain.
I'm Christine, and I'm playing Hymna. She, her. She's the guardian. She's melancholy, compassionate, and revolutionary. So basically, she's Quattro winner from Gundam Wing. That's
Oh
what I'm
my
picturing
God,
right
yes.
now. Right?
Which one's Quatra?
The blonde
The
one.
the blonde
The
one from the
blonde,
desert.
nice one.
Who pilots
Sand.
Oh, that one.
Sandrock.
Sandrock.
Yeah,
With the big swords.
Yeah.
So he never runs out of ammo. Not like Troa. Who always runs out of ammo.
Every time. Because he just goes.
And
he
then it's
doesn't
like
stop.
click, click, click,
Which
click,
one was
click.
Troa?
The one with the
With
brown
the-
bangs. The one that Mike's character just with brown hair instead of purple.
Yeah.
And no scar.
How is it not coming up on a Google search? That's weird, because Hero, Duo, Wufei. Oh, that one. Yeah, fair enough.
Quattro.
Fair. Okay, yeah.
See,
Fair.
I always liked Duo.
The melancholy.
Duo was the
hopeful, compassionate one.
Yeah, that's Catra.
Duo was my favorite.
and oh yeah, of course, and he's voiced by
He was so cheeky. It was great.
by Tomohiro.
Just never listen to it in the English dub. Because I swear that's a 40-year-old male voice actor for
Rob?
a 13-year-old
Yeah.
boy. And it's crazy.
It's so
It's
weird.
creepy as hell hearing that deep, heavy voice.
Hi there, I'm 13.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Wanna play cards?
They were 15 come to think of it, but
And it's like,
Gosh,
bruh.
okay.
I was just like,
No. It
Hey.
kind of blindsides you.
Hello, fellow children. Wanna play Gwent?
And that's how I realized I need. Oh wait, I don't have it on Japanese. Whoops.
Scott McNeil. Yep.
Ah.
Okay, and your hair color is
Let's just go with the pink that I've already got.
Ooh, au natural.
pink.
But so
That implies a lot. I'm not gonna.
Her descriptor stuff is like, when the Leviathans learned the true nature of their mission and turned on us, Him knows they're helping them. She was the leader of a cell of insurgents, engine pilots that believed the fate of the Leviathans was cruel and inhumane. She was promptly arrested by the Naval Authority. Now, for lack of experienced pilots, the authorities have dragged her out of the brig to lead the last engine squadron.
Breaking the law. Breaking the
Highlighting
law.
Wait, are you the
Dagon.
leader?
To lead the last engine squadron.
Snap, son.
Piloting Dagon, a guide engine.
Okay.
So I'm not sure I'm actually a fighter, I'm a guide.
You're a guide.
I'm
Well,
sorry, I have no idea what any of this means for the engines, but...
guide engine. So each one of the engines basically had a think of them as construction equipment. So there was one that was meant to like handle physical threats. So that's the combat engine.
Yes.
Then there was the guide engine, which was basically like the scout engine. That was like, we go this way to that moon we can settle. This way to Endor. We'll follow this Sith dagger that somehow proves the way to something that exploded. I'm not going to get into Star Wars right now.
So now, do the Leviathans, does it say anything about how, like, do they communicate?
I'm assuming like whale noises myself, but
Oh my god.
I wouldn't doubt that.
But they can maybe
But-
understand
but like
human?
data, right?
Yeah, but or like telepathically, you know, because they are engineered, so you'd think they'd have like a network, you know, kind of like a hive mind almost. I would think.
Because honestly, I'm kind of picturing that if this gets into a fight, that him is going to do the whole "stop, please, think of what you're doing" sort of thing.
And I'm gonna do the whole.
do the compassionate,
yeah,
please
yeah.
don't allow us to die
And-
off completely. Like, go your own way.
And I'm probably gonna do the whole. My entire squadron died before, and I don't care what happens.
So I guess
Harsh.
I guess I have one question about this going in that doesn't seem like it's answered by the fiction here. So the Leviathans were a colony ship, and they've gone rogue.
Okay.
Does that mean that they've jettisoned their,
Payload.
or did they have the payload on? It says and carry slumbering humans. So it doesn't say what happened to the humans.
I was assuming that they just never woke them up.
Does that mean that they cut the power to them, or that they're still alive? Because that they seem more important if they're still alive.
Yeah,
I think they're still
I would
alive.
imagine that they're still alive. They just haven't woken them up.
Yeah.
And that maybe makes it even more horrifying that it's going to crash. Like, it's doing a suicide play of crashing into the base to destroy it.
Isn't it supposed to be trying to wipe out like all of the rest of humanity now?
Yeah.
So that would make sense if they were still on there.
So if the
Crashing to
Leviathans
us.
are alien and hyper emotional, I think that one of
What if they don't even have access to it? They can't get rid of the humans that they were built to protect.
maybe they only have access to part of them, and that's why they're so alien and hyper emotional, is because they only get the subconscious echoes of the billions of humans in their guts. Right? Because that means they could also like they can also communicate humanly because they have access to like that matrix of intelligence. But it also is creepier. It's more ghost-like then.
Maybe it's very kind of emotional tones, not so much logical, reasoned.
Yeah,
Words.
actually the Leviathans are sentient. So the engines are the ones who are basically empaths only. But okay, cool. So their goal is to smash into the side of this center. All right.
Yeah, like it doesn't say how big the Leviathans are either, but I would assume.
Oh, I'm
Based
thinking
on the
I'm
name alone.
Yeah, I would assume very large.
Very large.
who's played Mass
Yeah.
Effect?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm assuming
Citadel
they're
size?
I'm assuming they're Reaper sized at least.
Reaper-sized?
Like I'm assuming that they're I don't know what I just did, but it didn't happen.
She gone.
Alright. So like I'm assuming that they're fairly large. I've got pictures of the Reapers.
I'm honestly kind of picturing the weird alien whale things from Avengers.
Oh yeah, but like way bigger, right?
Yeah.
Like
Like maybe times 2.
like Star Destroyer sized.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Something that could hold like potentially like 1 million humans.
Colony.
And terraform something.
Yeah.
Because they supposedly have a whole bunch of stuff on them that's going to terraform wherever they take them to.
I mean, like, if you just Google colony ship, there's a lot of great examples here.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm assuming that they're more ship-shaped and less like, I'm a giant orb.
Yeah.
I would, because they're, I would assume almost something
That's
like,
cool.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
like Wraith-like from Stargate.
Never saw that one.
Mm-mm.
Oh, it was Stargate Atlantis. They had the Wraiths, and the Wraith ships were like semi-organic and like kind of like alive.
Oh, got it.
That's why I'm picturing the thing.
Yeah,
from,
no, Mike's right. This.
That's why I'm picturing the thing from Avengers, because it was half organic, half metals.
Yeah,
sort of
that's you mix the Avengers with this, you basically got it.
And what's the big whale thing?
There.
Oh yeah, that big whale thing from the first Avengers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that thing.
That's okay. You just need to get really angry. That's all it takes to stop one of those.
But yeah, the whale things mixed with the Wraith ships, I think would give a
So
pretty
in the
good...
chat, Jacob just fact checked, and he was 40 when he did that voice.
There you go.
Actually,
Yeah, he's right there.
Yeah.
Well, if he's
Like-
87 now,
my boy.
he's got to be. He had to be younger then.
Because it was 20 years ago, maybe 25, but like.
Well,
So I guess he was 20.
Oh, the
Gundam
big
Wing was
30?
well and truly created by the time It was old anime when I found it in grade 10.
It was dubbed around 96, 97.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty sure. I think we're getting sidetracked, but
It is true.
fine. I'll search Gundam Wing dubbed win. So it released in the Toonami block in 2000.
I keep thinking my week is almost over because I'm always on camera on Wednesdays.
Oh.
And so I'm like, I only have 2 work days left for the weekend. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Hold on.
Wrong, son.
You lose, sir.
Good
No, go back to
day,
work.
sir.
Yeah, because I have a full week of work left, as do most people.
I don't. I'm broke right now, so that works out.
I have a full week of work and I'm broke.
Hey! It looks like 96-ish or so. I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway, we'll come back to that later.
Fair.
So, with that, why don't we go ahead and talk about... so there are some questions on your sheet that I think should be answered by everybody. So, what are they? Because I left your duplicate sheets over there. Because I'm smart.
Who wants to start?
I could pull them up on Dropbox right now, and I will. Because I'm using my computer. And it went right to the beta test. Excellent.
Fantastic.
So, Himna, for example, there are 2 questions that you should answer right now. You knew Icarus before the uprising. What drove it to this nihilistic action? Why does it want to destroy itself and everything else?
I'm kind of thinking that potentially it knew its role in terraforming, but thought that it would do this and then be like living in whatever solar system or something.
It would be free.
It would be free. It would be have a life and that sort of stuff. And so, and maybe have been even implied or heavily implied or told that, and then somehow found out maybe, I don't know if it's telepathic, then maybe it found out that way. A corrupt Navy official or something was nearby and wasn't that careful.
Or just like monitor the communication between like...
Something like that. So they found out in a very shocking way for them, potentially, and it was just such a betrayal.
Was Icarus the first one who found out? And then spread the word?
Sure.
Okay, cool. I like that.
So it was very much a thing of learning that you were created to die for other people's good. It's like, yeah, no.
Not exactly the nicest thing.
And so how does the Naval Authority, or how do they fundamentally misunderstand the Leviathans?
Think the army in Avatar. James Cameron's Avatar.
Okay, cool. I was like, everything was fine in space until the Space Fire Nation attacked.
I would say the Naval Authority is all about numbers and value.
We created these things. They don't have emotions unless we gave them emotions. We'll just turn them off like a
Concrete
toaster.
Value.
Okay.
And it's like, well, no, you'll do what we damn well want you to do.
Wow,
And
that's really
so-
hard.
Even if they also don't see the pilots really as human, it's like that we're things to do what they want us to do, and to have something buck that authority.
Negligent parents, guy. Yeah. All right, that's good. Okay, so Fallon, Jimmy Fallon is not playing in this session.
Fallon Moore.
Fallon Moore. All right, so we're gonna jump over to Cert.
Okay.
So Cert, what has humanity given up during your absence? So since you went into the time vortex and did the time warp, and because it's just a jump to the left.
Yeah, and then step to the right.
Put your hands on your hips and then destroy humanity. Inside, and then the pelvic thrust.
The pelvic thrust is what destroys you.
What has humanity given up during your absence? Well, cool outfits, obviously.
Duh.
No, I'm kidding. So, how was before it was so military?
So I've got a good suggestion for the second question, but the first one, so very military now. Have they given up free will? Have they
I was
given up?
thinking something like that, but I wasn't sure how to put it into words.
Like maybe they've given up part of their humanity
Yeah, humanity.
to fuel this drive to preserve humanity.
I've got one that's a step back from that might be just as good, if you don't mind.
Oh.
Trust.
Oh, no, that's good.
It's because that's a huge facet of humanity, right? Is being able to trust people not to stab you in the back or help the face. Because
Yeah.
my second one, which is what hope did you find out there? What does the naval authority demand you keep your finding secret? I would say that the Leviathans don't have to die, but if they do, they are the most powerful creatures in the galaxy at that point, and they're free. So the only way for them to survive is to free them completely. Mm-hmm. And would humanity trust them to be free? Right? They're not dogs. They're not domesticated. These are hypersentient beings that, through their time, are smarter than humanity.
And they're
We'll just let 'em go.
powerful. Yeah.
Right? Like both of those questions.
Yeah, that works really well.
So freedom is salvation. This is what I'm writing for my notes. Humanity / trust. Okay, and then let's finish up with Van. Is it Van or Vaughn?
I was thinking Van.
Van? Okay.
Like vanity.
Van, the shoes company. Shoes, the van company.
Oh,
Whoa.
wild.
Wild. Okay,
Cool.
so
Crazy.
how does the naval authority fundamentally misunderstand the pilots?
I think it's along the lines of, just because pilots were genetically engineered to be pilots doesn't mean that they can't still feel and be regular members of society. Just because...
They're people, not tools.
Yeah, they're people. They aren't tools. Just because they do one thing, hopefully extremely well, doesn't mean that they can't still be, normal everyday people who enjoy space Taco Bell.
Spocko Bell?
Spocko Bell.
Oh.
It is illogical not to eat here. Have the Baja Blast.
Live long and enjoy the bathroom.
What the
Spocko Bell.
Get out into space.
Fine.
Yes.
I've got your hairstyle.
Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. All right. And then finally, which other pilot broke your heart? And why would the naval authority condemn this secret romance? You can't pick Jimmy Fallon.
Damn it. Well, I'm going to start with the second part of that first.
Okay.
I think they would condemn romances between pilots, just based on the fact that they don't see them as people, so they shouldn't have emotional ties to anything.
It's a distraction from the mission.
It's a distraction from the mission. You have your job to do. You don't need to do anything else. This and this alone. And because they deny the fact that the pilots have feelings. As for which other pilot broke my heart,
I would be the worst one possible. I got thrown in the brig.
yeah, you
Oh,
would.
the traitor? You're going with the traitor?
Yeah, let's go with the traitor. Yeah, let's go with the traitor. Like maybe we like a thing, and then
So you had
Oof.
you had a girl's love?
a girl's love, if that
Okay.
works for you.
Sure, I suggested it. So.
Yeah, that's fair.
You keep getting pulled into these lesbian romances, don't you?
In this game.
I know, right? It's good. It's good. Welcome to Utena. Whether or not you wanted to be here, you're here now. So
Oh
make
my
the best of
God.
I
it.
even have pink hair.
It's true. No, I'm not gonna do it.
And she's got purple hair.
Yes.
Are you Auntie?
I don't know. Smack her a few times to see if it feels right. Sorry, that sounds awful unless you know Revolutionary Girl Utena, which is a show about slapping a witch.
I mean, I never watched it. I read the manga, so.
So you know when
I've never
when
heard of
when
it
your
until
brother is
now.
your boyfriend and also your car.
Yeah.
Oh, that series was weird.
Oh, did you watch the movie?
No.
Okay,
I
where
think it came. See,
where Anthony's brother turns into a car and drives them around the Rose Kingdom.
no, I was reading it as it came out, and then it stopped for a while.
Yeah, usually you have to go off acid for a little while to let your tolerance go
And
down.
So, I mean, I finally finished them, but then, yeah, I never saw anything else because it was so far after that. I was no longer in high school and didn't really care anymore.
When microdosing doesn't work anymore, so you have to macrodose.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, and with that, I think that we need to jump into play because we've been goofing around for a little bit.
Caitlin, am I taking up too much room? Do you have enough space?
You are taking up so much room. No, you're fine.
You just wanted to do the fabulous hand gesture. All right, and with that,
It's like
we
gloriously long nails.
Oh, you can't see them
I
against
was
my
gonna say,
black
did you see the
shirt.
logo on
You have to do it
that?
with the other hand then. 'Cause, yeah, they're
What's this
pink.
one?
all right.
Oh, nice.
Yes. And these ones are red underneath.
Oh, you even have a constellation, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
This is
All
the
right.
perfect game for that.
Well,
I don't
it's
know if you can
it's
see it, but-
7:52, so that means it's time to go and
7:04.
attention, attention. All crew to battle stations. All crew to battle stations. The alarm blares overhead as you three assemble inside of the bastion. The transportation node is ready and waiting for you. Holographic imagery depicts in the distance the incoming Leviathan. In front of you, a person stands, Captain Fulkin, your direct superior. Can you describe Fulkin for me? Anybody? Male or female?
Male. Because, I mean, if we're going with, like, a
Very authoritarian.
very authoritarian society, I'm thinking probably, like, tall, muscular,
Mustache?
mustache, probably bald.
Or at least the crew cut.
Yeah, for the
He's-
crew cut.
He's wearing a hat, obviously.
Okay.
Yeah, but you can see the edges of the high and tight under it.
Yeah, he's got that very tight
The
military haircut
Yeah.
with his little slanty hat on.
Slanty hat.
Does he have the hat on, or does he have it tucked under his arm?
Well, does he look like this? Or are you thinking a little more mustachy?
I think more mustachy, less
mustachy.
beardy.
Because you
Yeah.
also could have had this.
I mean, that's true.
I mean that's
I feel
true.
like maybe that's his aide.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
and
yeah.
and her name is Lieutenant Ava. Because it's right there. Ooh, no, it's
Lady
Eva.
Lynn.
It's Eva. Because I'm working an Eva reference in here
Oh
somewhere.
my gosh.
She's the one
Very
with the right
good.
hair color.
Very good. She what?
Only with a regular hair color? That means she's expendable.
No, I said she even has the right hair color because I commented that she could be his lady Yoon.
That's fair.
Oh.
All right.
That crazy bitch would fit right in.
Captain Fulkin is standing in front of the table with the holographic display. In front of you, you can see an immense bay of windows looking out over the starlight. glittering in the distance, you can see an immense hole in that starlight. A shape blocking the light from reaching you. In your guts, you can feel a slight twist of familiarity, of remembrance, of dread, and that slight metallic tinge of anticipation on the tips of your tongues. The adrenaline is building, and your eyes sting slightly with the thought of fighting an old friend turned new foe. In the distance, you can hear people rushing, trying to assemble, trying to pull together some semblance of control and keep the millions of cryostased humans safe. What do you do?
So are we like being briefed by the captain?
You've just entered the room. What do you do? Do you greet? Do you salute? Do you... Like, what do your characters do? Let's start.
She'll walk in, stand at attention, and salute.
Yeah, Cert will follow suit and salute.
Sir.
She will walk in and be there. They need her. She doesn't need them.
You gonna lean on the monitor and all?
No, she'll just stand there, like, calmly, like, kind of parade dress style thing, but no salute.
I was thinking probably, you know, like wearing a jacket and just like having your hands like in the pockets of your jacket type thing. And like just like, yeah, I don't really care about what's happening type thing.
She's revolutionary.
It's true. You're a revolutionary girl.
Rebellious.
Good. I'm glad you all made it here. There's little time.
What's the story, Captain?
There's only 3 of you remaining. In the last encounter, Phelan suffered a number of injuries. Lieutenant Ava will pull up a number of images, and you'll see a shot of Phelan, whatever they look like. I'm not looking at the sheet. Basically being wheeled around Rei Ayanami style, covered in bandages, and, you know. Seems you're the last pilots that aren't broken. In 30 minutes... Bastion will be under attack by the Leviathan. Your mission is to get out there and stop it at all costs.
Of course.
Sounds good, Captain. When do we leave?
As soon as possible. Do you have any questions? Allow me then.
Oh, I was just gonna say, so we do whatever it takes?
This station is humanity's last hope. If it falls, it doesn't matter how many sleepers still remain on the Leviathan. They will belong to that beast's belly for an indefinite eon, until the batteries run dead and it becomes a drifting sarcophagus.
Understood.
Ava, on screen.
Yes, sir.
Brief them.
And he'll take a step back and watch. As you can see here, and she'll start cycling through a number of images on the screen. The Leviathan in question, classification Icarus. As far as we know from our records, this is the one that initially instigated the rebellion. It's very clever, very strong, and could easily cut through this like a hot solder knife through reprocessed space butter.
It's the one that wiped out my squadron at the beginning of the war.
Well, payback's a bitch. She'll smile at you.
Ain't that the truth?
You just have to be the bigger bitch.
Doesn't take much.
Your engines are ready and waiting. I'll take you down now. Captain,
You have your leave.
follow me.
Let's rock and roll.
All right.
She pivots and you watch as she walks in her black, sleek naval uniform, Barely a speck of dust or any discolorment on it. The shoes shine to a mirror sheen, enough that she could actually check her makeup and hair in them if she glanced down. Every part of the outfit that's not cloth is that shiny stormtrooper plastic. The belt buckle, the belt, anything that's leatherish, including the armband on the side that has a proud declaration, the Naval Authority. Some of you who might have looked into some history may have seen an outfit like this previously, back during the World Wars. But enough of that. As you progress down the hallway, she walks forward, swipes a card, and leans forward to do a retinal scan. Lieutenant Ava, code Peach 929 Periwinkle. The computer scans for a moment. Granted. The door will slide open, revealing a large elevator. Ready when you are.
Always ready.
Alright, let's do this.
All right, with that, you will step inside of the door and it will shut behind you. The entire elevator groans as it lowers into a deep deck. Through the elevator's wall, you can see that the wall on the back is actually a window. And as it lowers, you can see into an immense hangar bay. Four engines line the floor of that room. 3 stand on their own, plugged into their charging stations, held aloft by the machinery that fits underneath their arms. These are large, bulky, humanoid shapes. Do they have discernible heads?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're thinking definitely Gundam-looking things.
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay, I'm gonna look up random mecha. Because there better be a mecha generator.
Hey, originally I was thinking more like, like ships, like ship style, but mecha style works.
Yeah, probably something that looks maybe a cross between Evangelion and Gundam sort of stuff.
I keep thinking Gurren Lagann, but that's just me.
What is the Gurren Lagann?
They just have giant faces everywhere.
Yeah.
They are angels.
There's so many faces.
Everything is a face. Has thousands of eyes.
Right?
Look at all the
It's
faces.
like
There's
the
a lot of
golem I just bought a
faces.
book for. My beard apparently is vanishing under the green screen effect. Boy. No, it's because I'm part god.
That will do that.
I see what's going on. Ouch. Wow, why is it doing that?
It's cloaking.
Yeah, my beard is trying to cloak. Oh, I just got
Maybe it's actually Klingon.
My beard is a Klingon. It's a Klingon beard. It's a Klingon thing. You wouldn't understand.
Oh.
All right. As the... Oh, I'll just turn that off and that off. Cool, done. I fixed it. That was the quickest fix I've ever done on this channel. The elevator continues its descent. Sorry, I know you want to see yourselves. The elevator continues its descent, and as it does, you will see that the fourth one of these engines lays on the ground, not plugged in, completely desiccated. It looks like it has been ripped almost in half, a large gouge through its central chest plate. One of its arms lies in pieces on the ground. The elevator descends. And then the door opens. She leads you out, and as she does, you can see 2 short lines of military personnel with blasters, large rifles, and similar gray uniforms to hers, lining the ground, stand at attention as the 4 of you enter. Best of luck to you. I don't think I have to say this, but we're depending on you. There are 413 million lives on this station right now. You 3 are presently the most important lives.
Well, as long as she doesn't ditch us like she did at the beginning of the war, should be fine.
I doubt that'll be a problem.
She'll give you like a hard side eye.
Well, maybe if the naval authority hadn't lied to them and told them they were going to survive and then promptly decided to kill them, we wouldn't be having this problem, would we? So I say it's your fault.
I understand, ma'am.
And don't expect respect. You pulled me out the brig to save your ass.
I pulled you out of the brig to save everyone's ass.
Yeah, because you got us fucked up. It's on you. Have fun with that. Now, are we going to keep doing this, or are you going to keep talking at us and wasting our time?
Good luck on your mission, soldiers. She will give you a brief salute, return to the elevator, and with a loud, the door will shut, and she will ascend. The troops give you a wide berth, and a couple of techs that are roaming around the floor will do the necessary maneuvers. They'll roll these giant space staircases to the backs of these engines, allowing you to climb up and enter. I'm assuming that it's going to be like one of those rolling staircases like at an airport. They roll it up to the back, and these mounts kind of lift, like, you know how when you pick a baby up under the arms and they're like, "Oh, look at you." It's like that, but reversed. So like they park like leaning backwards into these things so they can plug their backs in, and like their arms are sort of supported for the weight. And it's all kind of like an easy chair for robots, I guess.
Ooh.
Yeah.
High class.
Fancy.
They said you was high class, but you were just a mecha.
Either that or they have like that like cable that goes down, you step on it and pulls you up.
Oh.
Would you prefer that?
I think mine probably would because it's the combat one.
Mine's too old for that. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, yours has the portable stair. I think that's better anyway.
Wind upstairs.
Wind up, yeah.
Back in my day.
Hymnus has rolled up in like the electric cage.
Oh my god!
Would you like to see how I pilot this mecha, Clarice? I'm sorry. Hey, Caitlin. Claire Wolf. Caitlin named her character for the Werewolf Chronicle, and it's Claire, so she's the Claire Wolf.
Ooh.
You enter the warehouse. Warehouse? Is that like half man, half house? It is now. All right. Sorry. We are the most useless playtest crew in the world.
Yes.
All right, man. This laptop's getting hot. Ooh.
Not as hot as us though.
Snarf.
Oh, we're pilots. We know we're sexy.
It's true. Says
We're the
the
main
act.
characters.
It's
Of course
true.
we're sexy.
All right.
Yeah, says the actual real life pilot.
Yeah, your license just got revoked from your supervisor watching this stream. All right, so let's listen to the loading bay music and see if it works.
Okay.
All right. With that, do you all go to your various engines and load up?
Yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah.
pat mine. Hello, old friend.
You will feel almost like a trill, like a cat, kind of questioning, like sleepy hello in your mind as you touch it. You, in turn, Van, will feel kind of a rumbling game day kind of vibe. And Cert, as Cert touches it, he is going to feel this sense of determination mixed with fatalism. So this is the day kind of feeling. Let's make it that good day to die kind of vibe, you know?
It's a good day to die.
Today is a good day to implode.
Hey, probably. Can I get like head to head with it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll say you can walk around a catwalk.
All right. So he'll like
Clang,
put
clang.
his
Oh, I have something for this.
forehead against his forehead. Oh. Ah, there we go. Oh, yeah. Just put his forehead against its forehead and like pat it. Here we go, buddy.
No, question.
Yes.
Do the engines, when you go out as a squadron, link you telepathically?
To each other or to the engines?
Well, I know it's with the engine, but what about it does it to the group so that you can actually plan and...
You'll have
maneuver properly?
comms with each other for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, you won't be telepathic, but you will be able to communicate like a normal mecha show,
Okay.
where you've at least got radio comms. Assume that Iron Man rules apply.
Okay.
So we're mostly looking at your face.
And we probably know maybe the comms and whatnot enough to know how to block the Naval Authority from listening in on us.
Well, yeah, we'll have like ship to ship,
Yeah.
and
So
then
we
we'll
can
have like.
actually talk privately.
But who knows if
Yeah.
they can listen in?
Well, at this point, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Much.
Yeah,
Does it really
the world's
matter?
ending,
Does
so
anyone
Yeah.
really
We
care?
can form a rebellion while they're listening.
Yeah, no one cares about us, so why should we care about anyone else?
you'll hear a secondary alarm begin to blare in the room. Attention, attention, clear hangar bay for launch. Oxygen will be depleting in 30 seconds.
I'll hop on my step
Alright,
and
let's go.
Get loaded in.
All right, you three are in.
Perfect.
So hey, I have a soundboard. I'm going to use it.
right.
All right. This is the kind of space I like, the dumb space stuff. Not that this game is dumb. For Andrew, if you're watching, this game is not dumb. This game is great. But I like
The
dumb
space stuff you can have fun with.
I
Well,
like.
the space stuff you can improvise with because
Yes.
it's based off of anime,
So
right? Like it's creative.
as you're inside of your engines, you'll hear pressurizing, and then for a moment, the sound of your breath is the loudest thing in the universe, followed by the thumping of the heart beneath your genetically engineered ribs. And then, suddenly, your engine is pressurized. The oxygen levels balance, and the whir of the computers and motors and servos and that echo of emotion in your head will overtake it.
So we're like sitting in it, not like standing in like a cockpit area.
You know what?
We're-
Each engine is different. So you tell me. Like, are you talking? Do you want this to be like a gypsy danger situation, or like what are we talking about here?
I was thinking for me probably more like just like sitting in a seat with like joystick in each hand type thing.
Okay, so you're going
I'm
with.
thinking Gundam Wing cockpit for myself.
Okay, so Gundam.
So like very open concept. Like you just kind of have like your keyboard in the front.
Well, it's not necessarily like really. It's a small space, but it's kind of. You've got like the stuff on the.
Yeah.
So you're thinking like this, basically, like
Yeah,
kind of
you've
like.
got the stuff on your armrest. You've got stuff right in front of you. You've got stuff up and around you, and.
I mean,
whatnot for monitoring.
I always 1,000,000% think of the Evangelion plugs. When I think of anything mecha, just because they look so badass. Like that's the epitome of piloting
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah, that's.
But if you wanted to be more claustrophobic, oh man, they're in the museum. You can actually go in them.
Yeah, that's. I was thinking something like that.
Oh, so we'll hybrid this. We'll have it like this, where it's like it's got that kind of control scheme, but it's more enclosed, so it's not quite like.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So it's kind of a hybrid of the Gundam idea. So it's more like almost like being in a toboggan, or not toboggan, more of like that's like a canoe almost, right? It's about the size and shape of a canoe, just bent in half for a seat.
So yeah, you're just kind of you're.
And of course, nothing can ever beat the cockpit from Godanar. Which makes a husband and wife spoon on a couch.
I mean, did you see the ones from that newer show?
Okay,
that I
yeah,
can't
you're
think of
talking
right
about
now?
you're talking about the one where
Darling.
Darling and Frank's were the butts in your face the whole time.
Yeah, I am.
Oh yeah. Yeah, anime got weird when I took a break. It was like it's like anime's that person I dated like in high school, and then like you see them 10 years later and you're like, wow, you didn't change at all, but you totally did, and not in the ways I'd hoped.
Yeah.
I always thought that these things about you were pretty cool. Oh, those still exist in certain places? Cool.
Cool.
Yeah, and I was thinking like as she like gets in, like sits down, probably straps in, I'm assuming, and starts like going through like the like startup procedure and everything. You know, and she's probably gonna have a brief conversation with her engine.
What do you say to it?
Alright, Alistair. Gotta go out and fight again. Hopefully the last time.
You feel an emotional purr in the back of your head. As you enter Cert, you'll feel the relaxing comfort of coming home.
Yeah, this is the moment we were made for. We got this.
And as you return home, you will feel something similar yourself, Himna. Sorry, I have 3 high tones listed on my soundboard, and it sounds like each one of your character personalities when I play them. I'm really down with this. Ooh, there's a dark tone.
Kind of emotional. I'm going to probably mainly communicate like they do by sending like emotional messages.
Okay.
Like feelings of sadness, determination.
Set feelings to sadness.
Set feelings to sad. All right. And with that,
Resignation.
the huge bay doors in front of you will open. The force field will lower. And you can head out into space. Do you?
Yep. As soon as those doors open, just
Your thrusters are on.
yeah.
Also, once I start trying to foment rebellion, it's better if I'm out in space already. They can't pull me back very easy.
Yeah, that's true.
Girlfriend. What?
Ooh, I have Alien Starship as a potential soundboard.
I'm gonna hesitate a quick moment, but then just where are you going?
Oh, this kind of alien.
Oh, what? Oh.
When you said alien starship, I didn't know you meant alien starship. Oh, egg hatch? I have egg hatch as an option here.
my
And
God.
creature clicks. Hold on.
Oh my god.
Ooh, I have skitter. Okay.
Oh, you have to save that for the next like horror-ish game you do because that's
Oh, yeah.
perfect sound.
Oh yeah, I've got assault weapon, but we'll see about how that goes.
If we do a hunter game with Chiron group, we need to have that umbrella gift that somebody posted.
No.
That sound.
Yes.
Oh, the umbrella mimic.
The umbrella mimic.
Umbrella
I love
mimic.
The umbrella mimic.
That's just freaky as
Mimics.
hell.
Under my umbrella mimic.
We all died.
Oh.
Talking about dying. Let's
That
go
looks like
die.
something that the NWO would send after like people.
An umbrella mimic?
Yeah, you just have an umbrella and it's totally not a weapon.
Did your umbrella just eat that guy's face?
No.
No.
I mean, no, because it doesn't have a stomach.
And they go, what? Look at you, flash white light.
Yeah.
You.
Unleash another one on them.
Mind wiped.
All right. With that, your connections will come across.
Hello?
Right.
Connected.
Oh. Oh, there we go.
This is Naval Authority. Engines. Your comms are connected for coordination. Can you come in? Over. Can I? Oh. They start to break up the further you get away.
Well, him not reporting in.
Oh. It.
Fantastic.
Between each other, you sound as clear as day.
Oh.
The engines have a fantastic communication engine a system between each other.
Van's already turned off her Naval Authority communication, like the long range radio.
Thank God I don't need to listen to those assholes anymore. Can anybody else say fascism?
Yeah.
That is what the society's based on.
It's.
Yeah, but they basically fucked the human race.
Yeah, they've been doing that for hundreds of years.
I mean, if they hadn't lied, this war wouldn't be going.
That's true.
They just appealed to like the emotionality and the idea of sacrifice and duty and devotion, and given a reason to do it, we probably would be fine.
Talking about devotion to duty, what are we gonna do about this? She'll gesture with the arm at the void coming towards us. Knowing you, you're gonna try and reason with it.
Well, you really
Yeah.
think you can? Like, we don't have the firepower to take that down.
Not from the outside.
I mean, we don't have time to go inside either.
We can't just take it down. It's got too many
Can we maybe
laws on it.
deflect
It's sentient itself.
It already knows we're coming for it.
It's coming for us.
There's so few of us
course.
left who can fight with. There's so few pilots left. What if we tried to convince it could leave?
Because if we do that, it'll know that. Well, we say it can leave. Naval Authority back on Bastion isn't gonna just let that slide.
Naval Authority can't stop it.
Not really. It's only got us to defend.
Exactly. That's why they're sending us. So.
I mean, they could start. I'm sure they've got more pilots on the go. They're just not ready.
That being grown.
But
Which, on side note, what kind of weapons does everyone's engines have?
no idea.
What's this?
Something old.
Like weaponry. What kind of weaponry are we packing?
I'm assuming that you'll have a bangy and you'll have a stabby.
I was thinking kind of like going back to the Gundam Wing aspect.
I want a scythe.
I was just gonna say I was thinking like Death Scythe
You-
style.
Sorry.
So you got a scythe, okay? Well, you got one scythe.
We could both have scythes. Maybe it's from before when we were actually like a couple. We were all like,
When we were in the same
Oh
squad.
my god.
So what? You can move them together to make a big heart.
That's extra powerful.
Hato scythe power.
The forgive power.
Oh,
and you've just got.
Wow.
So Caitlin, because you're playing a guy this session,
Yeah.
I think you should have a giant spear.
Okay.
That's like a spear tip on one side and has like a pair of like swinging morning stars at the
Oh my god.
inauguration of your first role playing guy, to my knowledge.
Yeah, and then I probably have like two big, like.
I think Mike just completely missed that joke. But okay.
No, I didn't.
No, you just like went right past it.
I just moved right on past it.
That's a
Yeah.
penis. No, but seriously.
Yeah.
So what kind of weapon are you thinking? Both of you want scythes, and then for Cert would have a sword, like a big spear.
Yeah, I do like the spear idea.
I like the spear with the morning stars.
I think
Or at least Morning Star.
I think a
Two would be
no. I
difficult to
think
handle.
single-sided or double-sided spear, because there's going to be like a laser part of that spear.
Yeah.
Are you having laser scythes?
Yes.
All right. Oh,
This is an
Clearly.
and your blades are purple and pink like your hair.
Oh, girl.
We're just the cutest little couple pilot.
That's true.
We are. It's a shame that we're supposed to hate each other.
And yours is red, which is different than your hair, but it just
we
needs
can
to be red.
reconcile.
We're
That's fair.
supposed to hate
Yeah.
each other.
That's
Or it could be
true.
like
You-
bright blue.
According to the Naval Authority,
Like your shoulder pads.
should hate me.
Yeah,
because I
could
was
be
in the
blue,
brig
like
for
bright blue.
Yeah.
rebellion.
My shirt color too.
But
Oh yeah.
she's gonna make the case.
To be
that
fair, my laptop
most
screen's
easily is
blocking
a
most of that.
fascist
Oh, okay,
authority
fair.
Who just makes shit to kill them.
Secretly, Van agrees with her.
Copyright music.
I'm guessing we can probably do private channels as well between us. It doesn't have to be. The
Yes, but
entire
I'm gonna say
release.
for character drama, you can see other people having private channels,
Sure.
so you
I'm
can
gonna
see
open
like
one to Van. And be like,
this is probably nothing new.
No.
you might be a bit confused though because they're technically not supposed to like each other anymore. She's been in the brig for several years,
Mm-hmm.
but basically it's gonna be
I'm gonna
a
grab
very
more coffee.
quiet, kind of
Knock stuff over.
sad, melancholy little voice going. Van, I missed you.
Missed you too.
I like that my characters I'm just positioned right in between you two on this.
Yeah, pretty much.
You're our third wheel, Caitlin.
It's okay. I'll get all the female viewers in love with me.
Yeah.
Nope, you got blog now.
Okay.
Oh, is Blog watching?
Yep, blog's on right now.
Nice! Hi, Blog, I love you!
Caitlin, what are you cosplaying right now? It's
from. It's from Ensemble Stars.
All right, there we go. Chat wanted to know.
Oh, yes, it's Kanata from Ensemble Stars.
If we, I just realized that if we cosplayed all of our cosplays, it would basically just be like a weird, like, Kingdom Hearts style random day.
Oh, this is true.
Where, not Kingdom Hearts specifically, but just those weird, like, you're from this anime, you're
You're
from this
one,
anime.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
we'd be pick and choose from animes.
Chat love. Oh, I could just wear my... Oh, God. Anyway. All right, with that, you open a channel, chat with each other a little bit. And in the distance, you can see the Leviathan. Sci-fi suspense.
And at that point, you can see Van reach behind her back and pull out her scythe and...
I think Hymna's gonna blast forward to be trying to meet it first and talk to it.
All right.
Did she tell you she was going to do that? Is that what you two were talking about?
Nope, that's just her.
All right. So...
She's going to talk to it.
So as you approach it, you will be able to see on your readout that it looks like its weapon systems are active.
She's gonna send a message forward to it of basically like, Icarus, it's Hymna. Can we talk?
You'll see a connection to your comm link open. Yes. Let's talk.
Yes, my friend.
Friend.
What they made us do.
Step down. Step away. As you're saying this, you can see this dreadnought behind you, this Leviathan. One of its cannons, what looks like a cannon anyway, shines for a moment, and you'll see the face of a familiar friend, someone you once cared about, someone you once dreamed about perhaps, projected into the vastness of space directly in front of your cockpit. And that's what's going to be doing the talking at you.
Okay.
Male or female? Or other?
Let's go they.
They. So an androgynous a person in their late teens will appear in front of you, a very sharp jawline and long hair that is braided down their back will smile up at you. A very kind of the facial features I'm picturing are rather fey. Probably another pilot that was created alongside of you. This one with purple eyes and long blonde hair.
I thought you were gonna say brown.
Long brown hair?
You basically described duo.
Oh.
Oh.
I also just described Yennefer, but hey.
Yeah, Duo had blue eyes.
We had purple. Hero had blue.
I thought Duos were blue.
The person appears in front of you, and you will recognize
They're supposed to be purple.
the departed image of your former friend and former traitor friend. I'm gonna go with. Nope, not using that name. That name's kind of dumb. I'm not gonna lie. Sorry, I'm looking at the suggested names, and Lenneth was one of them, and I'm like,
Lenneth.
that's Kenneth who tripped down the alphabet letter.
Oh my goodness.
Or Lennon, who tripped down the alphabet.
That's a lot. I'm gonna say Cass because Cass is nice and easy.
Alright.
So it takes the form of your former friend Cass, who also joined you in the rebellion. Humanity is not worth you. Sorry, what were you going to say?
Basically, I'm not that good with words, especially when I'm tired. But basically, she's gonna try and get across a compassionate sort of
Sure, just
side of things. Of, I'm like, but they're not all bad. Most of them are asleep and have no say. It's the awful naval authority. The rules of a few lied to you.
It's us or them. There can be no other way as long as they exist.
I can't stand by while my race is destroyed.
So why don't you go ahead and let's make a roll here. So let's look at your sheet and let's see. You are going to use.
You guys can probably all hear this because I went to privatize this.
Just listening.
Oh.
So you two know what I'm saying to it.
Oh, okay.
I'm just listening passively.
So let me just
You
pull
might
up
not be in the
Hymna.
connection to be able to talk to it, but
Yeah.
I haven't made my side.
This is
sign
going to be a.
off. Or I'm broadcasting back to you two.
This
One
is.
or the other.
Okay.
What are you trying to do here? Are you trying to, out of your stats here, are you trying to defy, perceive, forgive, analyze, flow?
Okay, I'm sorry. What does flow actually mean? I didn't even
Flow-
get it last game. I'm
Oh,
not
sorry.
sure.
Flow is like dexterity, but also manipulation, and it's going with something.
Oh.
So it's like, so say you're at a party with someone, and they're like, oh man, I could totally stand to like go out and get some junk food or something like that. I'm going with a G-rated version, and you're like, yeah, or like while we're out, why don't we do some, I don't know, egg a house. I don't.
Yeah.
Trying to keep this nice and G-rated.
Okay.
But like it's kind of just like rolling with stuff. So it's redirection, and
Okay.
I can look up the actual rules if you want.
That's okay.
I feel like maybe forgive is the right one.
Okay.
Forgive what's going on. Asking for forgiveness.
So
It's hard to.
you could also look for perceived to look for weaknesses in the vessel, or look for weaknesses in their argument, or things like that. Remember that you're at +1 dice just for doing this in the benefit of humanity.
Yeah.
Period.
And, aren't I +1 as well because I've gone off lonely?
Oh, that's true.
I'm impulsive.
Yeah.
I've gone off by myself.
You have, and this means that this will not count as one of your actions. So
I'm
you're
not transcended, so.
you're in your mech, so you are transcended.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
Oh shoot.
So the second that you get into your mech in this one, you're transcended.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Makes
sorry, I
sense.
should have clarified that. But I thought it was pretty obvious, but
So if
that was my bad, 'cause
I'm
the only one with the rules.
Star in perceive. That's
So-
not 2, right? That's
you add them together
you do.
Yeah.
Okay.
It-
I couldn't
you do.
remember if you
only when you're
just-
transcended. So you have 2 points of perceive with your engine. You have 1 point of analyze and 1 point of flow.
Okay.
So, and you can also get a bonus dice by pushing yourself and taking 2 stress.
Maybe I'll do perceive then, as
okay.
I've got 2 dice in that.
So you'll have 4 dice to roll on this one. And
This is the most dice I've rolled in this game.
would anyone like to assist and take a point of stress?
Yeah. I would.
So how do you do that? So you hear her speech, and Cert kind of chimes in overwords, kind of approaching from behind.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say this doesn't violate your lonely because you set it up, but then someone came to your aid.
Well, and also I'm physically far ahead, so it's not like they can physically help me.
And well, yeah, no.
So I
If
could
they
just get-
can't hear me,
Okay,
I can
we'll say
pump her up, I guess. But like, I can't really talk to it.
I mean, you could probably.
You could probably join in on things.
you could deactivate your weapon.
Yeah.
Like,
You could also share information if that's something. I don't know if you want to use that yet in the game, or if you want to leave it till later.
yeah, I think we'll allow that for now. So go ahead and take 1 stress, and then you'll have 5 dice to roll on this. All right, so go ahead.
Oh, shush, blog.
What do you say?
He's going on about F-bombs.
Says the guy who used 4 times as many F-bombs as allowed. Back when I was like, try to limit 5 to a stream, and he blew through 5 before he started counting the first one. I'm like, dude.
Okay,
So
so I've
you-
got a 6.
Okay. Do you have multiple 6s? Okay. If you get more than 1 6 on a roll, it's a crit.
Right.
Okay, so
I
you...
couldn't remember what it was. It was
Okay,
6 and 5 or
so
something like
this, as you are, is going to be a risky. This is going to be risky in terms of your. So, I forgot to mention before game. There are 3 different. What's the word they use?
Levels. I don't know if they say levels
Battle
of threat,
modes?
but
No, it's not battle modes. So there are consequences, complications. There are 3 different.
kind of levels of like difficulty, essentially.
It's a P word, and
Oh.
because I rarely run this system, I forgot what it's called. It is a Dark Borg and a position. So
Oh,
there's
right.
controlled, risky, and desperate. Basically, small, medium, large, easy, medium, desperate. Desperate is when you're, say, fighting multiple people. Risky is when you're one-on-one pretty evenly matched. And controlled is like you're doing something that you do on a regular basis. Like, controlled would be climb this ladder and don't fall off, right? So this is going to be risky only. So in that case, there is no clear advantage in the situation. And what would you have us do? Cass says. As you're looking, you're going to see that there are a number of weaknesses in the structural integrity, and this data can flow through to your compatriots if you'd like.
Alright.
You can see that there are 6 ion cannons, as well as it looks like a weakness in the underbelly that you hadn't noticed before. It looks like one of its energy conduits. Now, from your time there, I'm going to say that if you hit the energy conduit, you can actually take down its computer system. Reserve power will stay on, which means that any of the cryoed humans that are still on board will have a limited amount of time to be rescued. But unless you did it with critical accuracy, it would mean the death of the Leviathan.
Question.
Yes.
So on Bastion,
Yes.
you said there was like 14 million or something humans?
413.
413. Are they all naval authority?
Uh,
Or is there a bunch of civilians?
It's mostly cryo. I would say there's probably about a space station of that size.
And it's more of a space station. It's not really much of a ship.
Think of it like Deep Space Nine or something like that. Like it's basically like an orbital space station designed to be like a dry dock or like a space dock for docking ships. And it's a staging zone, but it's the best thing we have right now.
And at this point, most of the naval authority has been kind of wiped out. Then I'm guessing.
The naval authority, yeah, most of it's been wiped out. There's only one battleship remaining at all. Most of the crew is shared between the two. So picture.
Can I suggest that potentially, say, if the Leviathan disappeared, probably what would happen is the naval authority would take their battleship after it, and then it could sneak up and destroy it. Get rid of the naval authority and not hit it with the humans.
I mean, there would still be some naval authority on the station, but that would
But
be
not
a much
very many, right?
that would be a much easier coup. But
So, but that's probably what would happen that she'd know about and could suggest that this is what's going to happen.
sure, go ahead. That's going to be a
Try and use
defy
that to
roll.
Convince it.
Sure, that's going to be a defy roll. And would
Okay.
anybody else like to do anything in the meanwhile? There's no initiative in this system, so it's as you think your characters would act. So I'm actually going to switch over to you while you're perceiving and planning this real quick. So you'll see that there is a projected pilot in the blackness of space. And you are perceiving, you'll see the schematics, you'll see that weak spot on its underside. What does Vaughn do? What is she up to?
She's been hanging back a little bit just to like listen to the conversation. I assume she probably got that schematic as well.
Yep.
So she's going over that, looking at anything that she can use on there. Going over it with Alistair to kind of think of a plan. You know, if the other two.
You
aren't
feel
able to
deep
do anything.
reluctance. Alistair does not want to attack.
At least you don't have to right now because it stopped.
You will have to convince Alistair to attack at this point. Alistair will be fine being defense, but you get the sense that they are holding back on their back foot emotionally.
I know you don't want to fight Alistair. I don't either. But we might have to.
Does she actually want to? Is she being a hypocrite?
I don't think she actually wants to.
But if she's going to enjoy it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like if she has to.
So she's a little crazy,
Yeah,
I guess, in that
like-
way, right? Like the whole, I don't want to beat up my own brother, but if I do, I'm going to beat the shit out of him to so that I don't have to do it again type of thing.
Yeah.
That's a really awful mindset, but yes.
Yeah, like
Not condoning that if you're listening.
like she doesn't want to fight, but if she has to, she's gonna end it.
Yeah, there's not going to be a second fight.
Yeah.
There are no round twos.
Yeah. She doesn't believe in round twos.
Okay. Do you want to try to make a roll to convince your engine that this is something that they should feel as well?
Yes.
Okay, so what you're going to do, so Van needs to take a number of dice equal to, this is going to be, you can empathize, which you have 1 point in. You can instead try to conceal, don't feel. Or you could try to Honestly, I feel like empathize or express are your goals here. You have a +1 automatically.
Okay.
And you
And
can
I have a base 1 dice.
you have a base 1. You can also I'm looking at your other stats right now.
So with the little stars and the things, if they're both filled in.
So you add the row together when you're transcended.
Oh yeah, the row.
So, for example, under Sun, you have 1 point of empathize total. Under Moon, you have 1 point of perceive total while transcended. So you add the circle and the star together if they're on the same horizontal line.
Okay.
So you are the best at analyze right now.
So you add the circle and the star?
If they're on the same horizontal line together.
Okay.
So, like looking down your list, you have empathize 1, you have perceive 1 right now under the Moon area, and then so on. So what you would do is you would take the number of dice equal to your score. So this would be probably empathize.
Yeah.
You'd add 1 because you're doing this in the service of humanity.
Yeah.
You can, if a teammate is unable to assist you, you can assist yourself by either taking 2 points of stress, which you see in the pink there,
Yes.
or you can accept a dark bargain.
I will take 2 points of stress.
Sure.
For now. And that gives me an extra dice?
That gives you an extra die, yeah.
Okay, so I'm at
So,
4.
and then what you're looking for is you're looking for a 4 or a 5, or 6, or multiple 6s.
It's like I get 4 6.
So this is going to be risky because this is so the. You know what? I'm gonna say this is controlled. This is the only opportunity you will have. You have a clear advantage because you have a giant looming threat in front of you. So the penalty is not going to be as severe.
2 6s.
2 6s.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, and with that, you will feel this resonating sound in your head as your thrusters ignite. And so does your blade, your energy scythe comes to life with a tremendous...
Supersized lightsaber.
And you get this... Now, the engine can't talk, but if it did, you would get the sense that it kind of leaned over your shoulder and says, "If it must be." Like that kind of feeling, like that resolution of just game face. If you do attack, Mike, Van will gain a +1 on the first attack.
Okay.
So remember that because you critted so well. This also will not count as one of your actions at all. So, all right. Now moving over to see what is happening next to you with Cert. So what is he doing right now?
He's probably moving up towards where Himna is.
Okay.
And, but also noticing that Van is starting to get ready to fight when he just turned his weapon off. So, we're a little bit out of sync here.
It's fine. Everything's fine. How are you?
Yeah. So we'll probably turn and say, "No, Van, we don't need to fight."
Of course we don't need to, but if we have to, we have to. I'm here in case we have to.
Is Himna pointing anything out inside of the schematics, giving Cert anything to go off of?
No, because she's not going to close comms with Icarus at all to prevent, hopefully, any distrust.
Okay.
Right? Because it would just look suspicious to go silent and but be talking to.
So what is Cert doing then? So
Let
you
me
are
see.
literally balanced between offense and defense right now.
Yeah.
Between peace and war.
Yeah.
You are the last bastion of humanity's hope. What does Cert do? Do I play When Doves Cry by Prince, or do I play Welcome to the Jungle by Guns N' Roses? Like which one? Where are we going here?
All right, old man.
Oh, I don't look that old.
We're all soldiers now.
Yeah, right. Some of those yours.
Exit pursued
Let's
by
see
bear.
here.
Exit
Dark
pursued by
fate.
Reaper.
Am I here to prevent? Alright, I want to... Wait, can I gather information?
I believe you can. Yeah, let's take a look at your sheet. So with your... Oh, I was already on yours. No, I wasn't. I was on Van's. So Dark Omen, when you use Impossible Knowledge to persuade someone, gain +1 effect.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that means, but I say do it.
Yeah,
Clockstopper,
I
if
mean, I
there
like
is ever a
that.
question of who acts first, it's you.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, nice. That reminds me, I gotta get a clock started for these guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 1, 2.
It's really warm in here.
Yeah.
If Lucy wore a sweater. That was originally cold.
That's true. I was
All right. What do you do?
Sorry, I was paying attention when we were doing our questions, and then I kind of zoned out.
So you can express, confess, perceive, analyze, or flow.
Okay, I want to open comms with Icarus as well. If Icarus
Done.
will open with me. Okay.
Yep.
And I think I want to drop that now. My knowledge.
Sure.
About-
All right. So, what is your dark omen? That it will be destroyed? That you will die? That humanity will die?
Everything will die, and it doesn't have to.
Okay, that's good. I like that. So you're going to get a +2 dice, one from doing this for humanity and one from the dark omen.
Okay.
And then, but you'll gain it if everything dies. You'll gain an experience. So that's good.
There we go, right?
All right, that's the easy success.
Perfect.
everything.
You gain that on your next character, I guess. All right, so this
Perfect.
is a. Would you say this is? This is analyze. Is that what
Is
you
it
said?
analyze?
Well, you
I
said.
mean,
I mean, I'd say this is probably express.
probably.
Hey, you gonna die, mother.
Yeah, pretty much.
You gonna die, mother trucker?
But you don't have to.
Mr. Falcon.
Oh.
Or it is. Yeah, there's no. I guess it would be express.
Okay.
Or defy if you really want to, but right now you've got 3 dice going forward, and you can also use 2 points of stress or take a dark bargain as you open yourself to your dark omen.
Yeah, why don't I try the dark bargain?
Okay, so
Oh.
here's the deal. This is going to activate another one of your hidden impulses.
Yeah.
And I've decided that your hidden impulse is going to be... Ooh, some of these are good. So you are already powerful and cursed.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm
Am
actually
I
gonna
cursed with this knowledge?
I'm gonna say that you're probably
Then can I use that?
haunted with this knowledge. So you add haunted behind cursed. So not only are you doomed, but as you do that, as you calm out and you say that to them, what do you actually? Let's have your roll first. Roll high.
Okay, so wait, how many do I have on this
I
again?
believe you have 4.
Okay.
And you want big numbers.
Let's do it.
Big money, big money, big money.
5.
Okay, 5 is your highest.
5's my highest.
5 is your highest. All right, so with a 5, I'm going to say, so a partial success on this is going to be Dark Bargain. So you are going to advance your stress by 2
Okay.
as this happens, because you will push that forward. And what do you say to activate this? What do you say will happen to them? What's your omen?
Everything around us will be obliterated. No one will ever know of its presence. Ever. It was like all of this never happened. It was like none of us ever existed.
You've seen beyond.
I have.
You have seen what come before. You see where we will go.
Yeah. Everything in between.
As you say that, your console will begin flickering and lighting up, and you will see that the holographic displays in front of you will start pulling out and rapidly skimming through calls, comms, recordings, databases of other engines that you remember fighting beside or moving beside before your time travel. Friends, you will watch dozens of friends in the corner of your eye on these screens, their final death recordings, skitter, and you are going to feel this scream building at the base of your spine, but it's not your scream, it's your engines. And it's just that single, I don't want to run away. I don't want to die. 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 Repeated. That feeling. In front of you, however, as you say that to the machine, to the Leviathan, it stares back at you with blind eyes. Would not that be a choice? Would that not be a choice greater than accepting death and slavery? Slavery and death. Is it not the right of any sentient being to choose how it dies?
You're forcing the choice upon others.
No one wants to die alone.
So you'll make the choice for everyone?
They made their choice when they turned us into sacrificial lambs.
The only ones that you're angry at are the Naval Authority. Everyone else is just
Parasites.
innocent. They're innocent.
One can say that a parasite is innocent as well. It knows not what it does as it feeds on the life and eventual corpse of that which harbors it. Is humanity any different? You are better than them, pilot. They created you as they created us. Join us. We can use our own engines, our own powers to reconstitute more of you. We will be humanity's successors. You three and any others we find. Yes.
Can I do a analyze or perceive roll to see if he's telling the truth about being able to create more pilots?
Sure. Yeah, why don't we go ahead and do that?
Alright, so how many dice would this... So it'd be...
Your perceive, so let's take a look at your sheet real quick.
So I have one in that. Or could I do this with analyze?
You can do... This is going to be perceive.
It's going to be perceive.
It's going to be perceive, but you can empathize. You can also use empathize. So when you empathize with non-human things as if they were people, so you have things feel. You may ask questions from any playbook currently in play. So what are the questions? Where are those guys?
Is it in gather information?
Under gather information. So what is hidden here? Can I gain an edge? What is the purpose of X? What belongs here? What is already in motion here? What defies the flow of time? What might happen if I X? What is different about X this time? Or you could ask, how can I help? Who here is afraid? What is most dangerous? Who will my foes try to single out? Who is willing to do violence? Who here is hurting? So everybody has different gather information moves. You can use anybody's on this one.
Okay.
So yes, this is going to be a... Make me an empathize roll.
An empathize roll?
Yeah.
Alright, so I roll one base, one for that.
Yep. And I'm going to open the window so that it's not quite as warm for you.
And what else am I adding to this one?
You can take a dark thingy,
A dark bargain?
or you can spend some stress.
I'll take a bargain.
Alright, let's give you another impulse.
Yes! Beyond arrogant. Because, yes, she is.
Okay. We are going to give you... Hey, chat, should we give them hungry or feral?
I was hoping for either of those.
So add 1 dice for that, and we're going to give you hungry or feral. We already have imperious and...
Vlog says hungry.
Okay.
Imperious, wounded, and brave.
I do think feral could be really fun mixed with those.
Let's go with feral. Let's go
Feral?
with feral. I'm overriding the chat because the chat's hungry,
Alright, so I
which
have
is different
3
because
dice.
usually the chat is thirsty.
Oh!
So thirsty. Oh, speaking of which, extra caffeine time.
A 6.
I think I'm,
Just 1 6.
Just 1 6.
Yes.
All right, and as you do this, you can feel your engine engages itself, and you start seeing schematics of. I just gurgled into the mic. That's the problem with drinking pop. Schematics from the bastion. Weaknesses, structural instabilities. Your screen will start flicking back and forth between the structural instabilities that Himna pulled up and that of the bastion that you know of. Like a feral animal, looking back and forth, not sure where to strike. But for a moment, you have that feeling in the back of your mind rise up as your engine thinks about how much it must do to gnaw off its own foot. And escape and be free of this. And that's going to cause you some trouble. So with that, you can ask me 1 question and 1 follow-up. So are there any questions on your sheet that you'd like to ask?
Alright, so...
So look under Gather Information on the left, second box area up.
Where can I get in it? What's the purpose? Who, what,
So other ones are what is... So you're on what is hidden here. There's also what does X intend to do? Who here is keeping secrets? Where can I find X? What's the vulnerability here? Where can I stay hidden? What does X really want? I'll allow you. That's Fallon's questions, but I'll allow it because they're technically around. What is most dangerous here? Who is afraid? How can I help? Who will my foes try to single out? Who here is willing to do violence? Who here is hurting? And then finally, the last questions are... what do I remember about X? What really happened here? What defies the flow of time? Or defines the flow... Oh, defies. No, it's right. What is already in motion? What might happen if I X? And what is different about X this time?
I think I'm gonna go with what might happen if I... what might happen if I blow up the station instead of the Leviathan?
Humanity will die. And humanity, you will kill 4.13 million stasised people. And no, pull a Jeb by all means. Jeb didn't kill 4.13 million people.
I thought it was 413.
Million?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's 413. What did I say? 443?
4.13.
No, it should have been 3.14. Kill pi.
Oh.
So yeah, 413 million. But the Leviathan race will live.
And as a follow-up,
Mm-hmm.
they mentioned they could create more pilots. Would that be true? More people like us?
Since that wasn't your first question, it's not directly tied to your first question as a follow-up, but I will say that with the amount of technology that the Leviathans have, it is very possible. It is not out of the realm of possibility. Very similarly to if someone told you that if you lost your hand at work in an industrial accident, someone said, "Well, we can put it back on. Like we have a microsurgeon who's that good now." Where you're like, "Really? That's big, like a finger, yeah, you know." But we're at that point where it's not an unbelievable jump.
Okay.
You know.
At that point, can I start doing my suggestion about the Naval Authority?
Yes. So what were you saying again? What was yours? Remind me.
Basically that, well, if you back off now, it's a high likelihood that the Naval Authority will take their battleship out with what few people they have left. There's not many left. You can isolate them from the main group. Isolate the remaining ones who betrayed you.
They all betrayed us.
None of them knew. They didn't know that what they designed you to help us with would kill you. Only the authority knew. They did it. They chose to lie to you. And they chose to try and send you to your death. To create you only for that. Nobody else knew. And when we found out, many of us rebelled. I've spent the last 3 years in prison for it.
Agreed. That would be a preferable outcome. Your loyalty is not being called into question, but your loyalty is still a requisite. We will give you 30 minutes. This is cast, the projection in front of you. It looks you up and down, and just checking one. We will give you 30 minutes. Prove that this is possible and that you are by our side. Destroy the battle station, the ship, kill the fleet, and we will spare the bastion. This is our final offer.
But they're not on the ship yet. They haven't left. Right?
Sorry?
Like the Naval Authority's not on the ship yet. They're still.
There are still quite a bit on there. The Naval Authority wouldn't go on there entirely. It's definitely skeleton crewed. So the flagship is the pilot's mobile base of operation. It carries the engines, houses the pilots and its own crew, and can be upgraded. So the flagship is the last ship. And then the bastion is completely filled with people, most of which are frozen. But, for example, if you took out the flagship, that would cripple humanity entirely and give it no defenses at all. We're going to play that way because this is a one-shot.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, out of character, do you guys want to fight? Or do you not want to fight?
I mean, I kind of want to fight.
You kind of want to fight? Or do you
I
want
want to fight, but not against Ed.
Episode 1. Also
Civil
episode
War.
26.
Yeah.
On a side note, I've been fighting my bladder for 2 months.
All right. So
that's
hold on. So as the ship looms in front of you and the projector revs its motorcycle engine outside. I don't know if you can hear that on the sounds. The engine. So you destroy the flagship. And we will spare the humans sleeping on the bastion. The rest we will sacrifice to the vacuum. This is our final offer.
Ouch.
The hologram will fizzle out, and with that, we're going to go to a brief commercial-flavored break. See you in a moment after bathroom breaks. And we're back. Hello. So we appear to be at a bit of a conundrum. Yeah. So we appear to be at a bit of a conundrum.
So that sounds pretty good.
What?
That sounds pretty good. Except for the echo you were getting there.
Yeah, it's because it was my mic picked it up.
Yeah.
All right, so welcome back. We're at a bit of a conundrum. So right now, looking at the way that this module is built, we're kind of painted into a bit of a corner here, and we were discussing it during our break. we might as well just be transparent because this is a playtest.
Yep.
So, what does everybody think? Like, we kind of want to test out a little bit of combat in this, a little bit of drama, use some powers, but at the same point,
Who do we use them against?
that's true.
And also, my same comment from the last playtest is that it feels like they haven't actually written combat yet for this. At
Yeah.
all. There's no real combat powers. Like, I don't have an attack power besides Defy.
Yeah, I think Defy would be the only thing there, and most of you have
So-
very low Defy scores.
Yeah, so it doesn't really feel like we have a combat engine for this yet.
Well, I mean, for example, Powerful and Brave probably would give you +1 dice. Bright, unless you were doing something very tactical, you wouldn't get a bonus for that, but even then, it's only 1 die bonus. But the flexibility of this engine is really good in many ways, because what I would do, for example, if you decided to charge in and say, like, I try to take out all of its ion cannons, or whatever, or I try to cripple its defenses, it would be something that would be, I would say that's a desperate maneuver. So you'd roll, and if you manage to do it, you would succeed, but if you manage to even get like a partial success or less, you would take like 3 or 4 points of harm, which might like almost kill you, or destroy your armor at the very least, and might drop you into Eclipse. So it's very high stakes. So this engine is the same engine that's used in, say, like Blades in the Dark, which Neil, who's in our Curse of Strahd game, plays a lot of that, and he described it as like, when you take harm, it's not when you get into a fight in Forged in the Dark, it is not an easy thing. It's not like D&D where it's like 1 hit point, 10, whatever. It's you go into a knife fight, and if Caitlin and I are having a knife fight, and she takes any damage at all from my knife, she got stabbed. Like, that's not a small thing. And as anybody who looks up stab wounds can tell you, they bleed out, I think it's 1 liter a minute if it's a deep enough stab. I think it's if a stab wound that is 2 inches deep bleeds out close to 1 liter a minute in the right location.
Sure, I don't know.
It's a
I've never
ridiculous.
looked it up.
It's World of Darkness has a lot of playbooks that explain this for you.
Okay. Sure.
It's handy.
Sounds
Well,
legit.
like you get messed up really fast, whereas if you took 4 points of harm, you're basically dead,
Yeah.
right? So I think it would,
I have a feeling the setting is really designed to actually do the confess, forgive, perceive sort of stuff.
it is.
Not really to Defy, because like my special power is expending my special armor to resist consequences suffered when you protect an ally or give 1 dice to someone else's action.
But I do feel that part of the magical girl genre does have a big component of struggle and trying to, like, not necessarily combat, but physical conflict, right? Like, it's not always like we kick him in the face, but sometimes it is we kick him in the face. Like, no, it just is. Like, Sailor Moon had a lot of like physicality in it. It wasn't Dragon Ball, but it was, was a thing.
I think it's just odd for a very mecha setting
Yes.
to not have combat rules.
Yes.
So I'm feeling a little adrift by that.
Adrift in
because,
space.
Like, I really don't feel there's anything I can do if we get into a fight, besides potentially protect somebody else. And also, my character's not supposed to do violence.
And then violence is what
Which
you
is
do
funny because
best.
She's revolutionary, but she doesn't do violence.
Like, on a similar vein, like, my character is supposed to be in, like, a combat-oriented engine. But again, there's no combat rules.
Yeah, not really.
So, like, really, what makes a combat engine different from the guide engine?
Yours is powerful. Or no, yours is brave. It's not powerful.
Mine's powerful.
Yours is powerful.
Yeah, mine's bossy.
That's true.
So
Boss bitch.
when I'm being arrogant,
Yeah, so I feel like this isn't really necessarily meant to be a combat, more of like a narrative.
Yeah.
But I feel like we haven't really had the time to. This feels like a combat that should have shown up after 5 or 6 episodes of role playing on space.
Well, I think that the idea that the developer had in mind, this feels, and you wouldn't know because you haven't seen it, you discussed that earlier, this feels very much like an Evangelion episode, where it's like, we can do nothing except for deal with this, You know, like in the episode with the drill, where they're drilling down into Tokyo 3. I forget, was that Sachiel? I think it was.
No, it's been too long.
Yeah, but basically, like, there's nothing you can do. You have to snipe this thing.
Yeah.
There's no other way to take care of this creature that's trying to kill you. You have to take it out. And I think that's one of the things that might have been my failing as a director, is that they talk about that the Leviathans need to be very unknowable and very alien, but you're also supposed to be able to role play with them to a certain extent. So there's certain boundaries that you kind of have to establish, and so like I was trying to put forward that, oh yes, you can discuss things with them, but when it comes down to brass tacks, they're going to give you ultimatums like, cool, yeah, no, we'll totally call off our, attack on humanity if you prove that they're, worth saving by killing a bunch of them, and then we'll just have you flush the rest out through an airlock.
And I kind of feel like that's an impossible choice.
You can keep the ice cubes, but like all of the Admiralty will be launched into space. Which, how is that different than having them lured onto their flagship and then blown up?
Well, because you're also killing like the rest of the innocents at the same time.
No, the cryos will be fine
Yeah.
because they're in pods. Basically, just drain all the air out of the ship like a roach motel. Not that that's how you get my idea. The suggestion was not to kill every human on the spaceship or the space station. It was to kill every human that is not in a cryopod.
Okay, because they suggested destroying the station.
No,
And I was like,
destroying the flagship.
no.
Destroy the flagship.
Well, that also was the fact that most of Naval 30 wasn't on the flagship. So I was kind of like, well, I'm just obviously painting myself a full traitor then, and I can never go back on there, and I'm fucked.
Yeah, but they were going to purge all the people, and you can just rewrite the records afterwards. Oh no, someone slipped on a banana peel and out the airlock.
I think where some of that confusion
Ramiel, thank you very much, Jacob.
I think where some of that confusion was, when you were describing the situation, you described it as killing everyone on the battle station instead of the battleship.
Yep, I did say that. That was my bad.
Yeah.
Well, everybody gets one dice going forward because I messed up.
Because I was like, I'm not gonna kill the 14
So back to this.
billion.
So
And then you're dumping all the ones off of you. No.
So no, hold on, we'll go back. Fine then. That is acceptable. Destroy the battleship. And then we can purge all of the walking humans not in cryosleep from the bastion. Thousands will die. If humanity shows its underbelly, we may yet let it live. Submission or destruction. These are the acceptable solutions. And it'll vanish at that. There, now it's a little more cut and dry. A little better.
All right.
A little better. This also will give you a chance to discuss because Himna has her opinions, but Cert knows some things from his time beyond time. Mm-hmm. Sword of Omens, give me sight beyond sight. Mm-hmm. Cert of Omens. Cert of Breath Mints.
Ooh.
Oh.
Yeah.
No. I see.
I gotta talk to you guys about Werewolf after game because I've got a bunch of lists of cool ideas.
Okay.
Sorry, I just found the note. I'm like, ooh, yes. Yes, I plotted many notes here. I did the plotty plot.
Ooh, plot.
Plot is fizz.
What do you guys think?
Still feel that's an unacceptable amount, however, thousands lost means saved.
Submission and destruction. Really?
So, I mean, submission for now.
Submission for how long?
Well, if it, I think that's submission and survival. Or do we three choose the future of the human race as non-existent? This is all that's left.
do. Does anyone have any tactical ideas?
We could try to cripple it.
I'm still just trying to get my hope that I found out there into words that I can speak, and I'm just coming up at a loss. I'm
That's
sorry.
right. That's okay. It's kind of a hard one. What about Himna?
She will very melancholically. Y'all shouldn't be really. The Leviathan had no choice in this. They were set up to die.
And now they're giving us the choice between everybody dying, them dying, or us replacing one leader with another.
Your comms will flash a message from the Leviathan. A true choice requires no thinking. Make your choice or have it made for you. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
I'm going in.
Okay, good. All right, because your clock had full. Basically, this runs on a clock engine, which when the clock fills, I was like, yep, and there's the last bit of clock right there.
Oh, because you haven't been telling us, and I can stop a clock, but...
Oh, can you? All right, so the
Yeah.
clock will, so it would be 10, 9, whoop, there we go. So the clock is, whoop. It's weird because in some engines, I'm not supposed to tell you about clocks,
Oh.
but I forgot with yours specifically, there is the
Yeah.
thing. So you'll see that it's
Sorry.
No, it's okay. it's a playtest. That's what we do.
Yeah.
All right, so, sir,
Yes.
what do you want to do? You can stop it. You can stop the clock from... You can act before the clock fills, anyway.
So,
No, go ahead, ask me a question. No. Like, you could do a gather information roll to ask me specific game questions. You could just ask me out of character, and I don't care, because this is a playtest, and we're gonna figure this damn thing out. Damn it! Are you just trying to parse what we were talking about?
yes.
Okay.
Basically.
Well, it's hard, right?
Yeah,
So
I know,
like,
I'm
and
just-
you shouldn't be like frustrated by the fact that it's hard. Oh, wait, maybe you should. I don't know. You get what I mean, though. You shouldn't be frustrated
Well, if
that you're
having
frustrated.
a hard time, is it just putting it into words for the character to say? Or is it for Caitlin to say too?
It's both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there
I
a
was
way?
gonna say, like, I honestly don't mind if you just try and express here's what the character wants to express.
Yeah, you don't have to. You don't have to
Yeah.
wordsmith it if you're not finding the words.
I've
I'd
been
rather.
trying to wordsmith it as much as I can. But
So is that an option we want to go with? I feel like it's valuable to have it on the table,
I
but
think that's important.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want, like, you to feel like
then
you couldn't do something just because you couldn't word it right.
so as the countdown is about to begin, Cert will blurt out something akin to, "What if we had them release the last command lock on your control system?"
Yeah. I was trying to get
Or something like that, right? No, it's okay.
Something like that, but I was just like trying to also parse how to help them, but how we could break it to them.
And then there will
I'm
be
just dumb.
there will be a no. You're not dumb. Stop it.
It's okay.
No, it's not. Well, the problem is that this is a game that we're jumping into that already has a pre-established fiction, and you're also a little bit hamstringed by the idea of not being able to come up with fiction on the fly that meshes with the narrative as presented. So you're looking at this and you're like, well, am I allowed to say this? Am I not allowed to say this? Can I improv this? Can I not improv this? Is this going to mess stuff up? It's this little bit of, how do I incorporate this into what I know of this thing, or is that going to put it off in a weird thematic direction? Like, it's a hamstring.
And then I don't say anything.
And then you don't say anything because you think you're going to throw up.
Well,
Yeah.
because if
Right.
we jumped into the
We jumped in-
climatic moment of a season.
Yeah, even though it's
So we
supposed to be
haven't had the
episode
background
1,
of the
part
season.
1.
Yeah.
Because, like, the way that they designed the season for this...
Well, I kind of feel like this one maybe should have had. Maybe there should have been a way to deflect it so that it's defeated for now, or it's deflected off for now. We have time to regroup and plan and foment insurrection and
So
that sort of thing on
the
base.
series is Tier 1, defend the last bastion, fend off a Leviathan attack on the bastion, or explore the ruined world. Explore the world beyond the bastion or within it looking for information, solace, and hope. Tier 2 is hunt a Leviathan or recover a fallen engine. And then Tier 3 is stage a desperate counterattack. So that's kind of the idea, is that it builds up to that. But given that there's no real... Like, the attack mechanics here are fairly non-defined. So the idea of making this anything but like a negotiation or a diplomatic type of mission is very hard to kind of parse mentally, right? Am I? That's what that was. We were talking while we were taking turns in the bathroom. That like we're not sure how to fight because the engine doesn't really lean in, or the mechanics don't really lean into fighting as a way to solve your problems. It's a feeling game, but it's. Anybody who's ever been bullied can tell you that, like, it sure is great to feel things while you're getting punched, right? I feel like this is a bad thing is not really a valid way to diffuse a situation when, you know, punching back probably is a little more, hey, it's Rookskate. Aggressive negotiation. Yes. Some Star Wars would fix this right up. So this is a really interesting game premise that we're kind of playing with. I don't know how long you've been watching Rook.
I think this could be really, really good. It just needs some more tweaking.
It needs some more tweaking. Like, it's like Andrew did a fantastic job with this game, and there's a lot here that is really good. Like, I want to state that as like. So it's already 9:30. Where do we want to go with this? Since we are, do we want to?
I mean, it almost might be good to do a cut to black.
Do we want to cut to black? This is the episode end.
Blurt out the stuff, and it's like, what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what does that mean
It's
exactly?
whatever you could mean, anything you can imagine. Which,
Do we
as
wanna
much
do
as
that?
we're
Is
ragging
that-
on the lack of combat engine? I must say it is also nice because we're not jumping to combat first thing, which
Well,
a
that's-
lot of other games just end up combat as the only thing you can do.
Well, then why don't we step back and start talking about the game real quick, and why don't we wrap it then? Right? Does that sound okay for everybody?
Yeah.
All right. So as that last message is forward, you start powering up your engines as you feel the feral anger building inside of your engine. You feel the uncertainty and the haunting, and think of all of the deaths that you will have to live with for the remainder of your cursed life. And you and you will feel the isolation and yet the chance for hope. Next time on Sea of Stars. Will the Leviathan be defeated by our intrepid heroes? Will they be able to create some type of compromise between the Admiralty and this ancient threat? Will Lieutenant Ava finally make it on her date with Cert?
No.
But she thick though. All right, so that's gonna be it for the game portion. So, Mike, this is your first time playing with like this engine as we go. What do you think of it so far as a basis? Like, don't think about the module so much because the module is itself. It's not perfect. It's a module.
Yeah, and I mean, and it's a freshly written playtest module.
Yeah.
So I mean,
But you've read the rule book, so you,
yeah, I've read the rule book and you know all the character stuff and all that, and like as a game engine.
Would you play this?
I think it could be a lot of fun.
Would you buy a copy of this?
I probably would, yeah.
That's many sales you've made.
The fact that it isn't a combat-centered game, like what Christine was saying, you know, it is a nice change, you know, from everything else that's just like, hey, you know what's great? Messing stuff up, and
I mean, it's great.
I love that.
But that was one of the things you love about, like, when we were playing Hunter, is that you didn't get to mess things up, but in that last session, my God, did you mess stuff up. Like, there was
Yeah.
such a wait for it. It was when the violence finally erupted, it was very cathartic.
Exactly. Like it didn't happen much, but when it finally did,
It was satisfying.
it did.
And I think that the thing about this is that they do a really good job of writing violence as the least preferable option. Like, you don't want that. If you could just like forgive and express your feelings, that is preferable. And I like that. That's a nice message. And a lot of people deal with violence and bullshit on their daily basis that this game is targeted at, you know?
Yeah.
And it'd be nice to be able to forgive people rather than, like, hit them with a brick, which is what a lot of people who are playing this game are going to want to do to their, you know, I want to say oppressors, but kind of. Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, it might be nice for.
God, that's a squeaky couch.
It is a squeak. Well, I also fidget a lot.
I sit there full time playing The Witcher, so like,
right.
it's my butt is the thing that has carved a grain into it.
Like at the same time, you know, it might be nice to be able to have a little bit of like specific combat rules in there, so that when you come up against something, you know, like forgiving something isn't always the option that's gonna give you the best results. Sometimes you need to do action for it, and it's usually a desperate last resort. So, you know, like having the 3 levels of stuff, you know, being like controlled or risky and desperate is neat. But then, you know, I think having some more combat mechanics for when things start to get more desperate, and you start reaching for, you know, that part of it that you don't want to. I mean, partly because fighting isn't great, you know, violence isn't great, but also partly because if you get hurt in this system, you get hurt.
Yeah, you get rickety wrecked.
Hurt real fast.
You get rickety wrecked.
Um,
Which actually, God, I can just picture the people who are watching the playtest document for the business side of this and being like, did he just make a Rick and Morty reference right in the middle of this beautiful playtest?
right? But yeah, like reading the
Your
damage
opinion matters
mechanics,
little to me.
Like reading the injury mechanics, you get like 4 levels of harm before you're basically incapacitated, and then you get 1 more and you're basically dead.
Yep, and a desperate fail is basically 3 or 4 harm.
Exactly. So I mean,
Like
I really like that. I think that's really neat, because it gives fighting that much more desperate feeling.
And that's one of the things about like playing like World of Darkness games. Like, you've only played Chronicles of Darkness,
Yeah.
right? And those games are like, when you get hit, it doesn't necessarily kill you. Old World of Darkness, if you got tons of extra successes and ran on house rules like I always did, it's like 1 bullet can take you out, but it usually wouldn't. I guess it's kind of like D&D, right? Like, like unless you're being shot by Xeno, like it's not going to take you out.
Yeah.
Even then, it takes 3 arrows.
Exactly. So I mean, I like having the 3 tiers of thing. I think having some combat mechanics in there, especially at the more desperate end of things, would be something that could just help showcase the fact that, you know, violence is usually like an extreme last resort that people don't want to do. You know, especially the kind of especially the demographic that a game like this would be more aimed at. You know, people who shy away from violence or have experienced violence themselves. You know, or maybe have, you know, PTSD because of it. You know, and the only way that they could really ever, you know, see themselves engaging in anything violent would be, you know, in a absolute life or death situation.
Yeah.
Where you don't even need to think about it, it just happens.
Yeah.
Maybe it would cost you extra stress to inflict harm on something.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but not to take a hit or to block something, right? Like,
Yeah.
like if you're doing something that's like more of a passive defense thing, then obviously the damage or the stress is probably enough there. But yeah, that's an interesting idea, that it costs you stress to initiate harm, and probably a lot more to initiate undue harm.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I kick a dog. Why would you kick a dog?
3 stress, man. 3 stress.
10 stress.
10
You're in
stress.
Eclipse right now. That was a good dog.
much.
I
It
was
was a
kind of
good dog.
thinking that part of it might not even be like combat mechanics, but more text and explanations on how to handle combat in these sort of settings.
Yeah.
Because I think this particular last setting didn't throw me off as much, because I think this type of setting, Gundam, every single episode has at least one fight, right?
Well, that's what mechas are for. Mechas are for
Mecha
fighting.
is a fighting
Yeah.
anime.
Yeah.
So it's weird to try and do mecha, and in that sort of setting, do a lot of negotiation. So maybe if we'd been actually running this more long term, and you'd had a few sessions of negotiating relationships between the 3 of us on base, negotiating between the Naval Authority and us, maybe fomenting insurrection, and getting more people on our side, and then have the negotiation with the Leviathan, or try to misdirect it, and then have that side of things more focused on.
Well, I'm trying to wonder what type of inspiration they drew, because I haven't seen Die Buster, but I've seen its predecessor, Gunbuster. It's one of my favorite anime of all time. And it's a lot of that, like, girl in the pilot's chair sobbing her eyes out, being like, no, I don't want to do this. But also as she's, like, you know those anime where it's like millions of combatants in the sky and you light them all and they're like these little pinpricks of light? But it's like you're doing that while you're crying your eyes out. So it's a mixture of that. But then the other example that they use for this is the Vision of Escaflowne. And when Vaughn is in... Different Vaughn. When Van Fannel, it's been a while. When Vaughn is in Escaflowne, he's usually beating ass. Like, that's a big component, is that, like, it's basically a suit of knight's armor with, like, a slight creepy, it runs on his blood factor. And the same with all of the other, I forget what they're called, but, you know, mechas.
Yeah.
What the hell are they called? God, I haven't seen that. Like, I have the DVDs around here somewhere. But it is a fighting show. So yeah, I think there needs to be something to bridge that gap between these in this concept.
Because it did feel more natural in the last one.
Well, 'cause
more of the Magical Girl high school style anime, where you are talking, you might slap somebody. And, like, I picked up a fire extinguisher and emptied it in the face of the monster, but that was very much a non-violent. It was a distraction and, like, in the end, not very harming move.
Yeah.
So I think we probably could have managed that in the setting. We're just maybe not used to it, or not have the...
No, I feel like the setting needs a slight adjustment to really work on that way.
It felt like this was too big of a threat for the first episode, and without enough indications of what the players could do to avoid the threat. It felt too much of a world-ending threat.
Also, there's nothing that explains what the Leviathan can do aside from be a threat. It's really big, and it sounds like it's going to destroy the Bastion by ramming into it, rather than
So
like
as a
blowing it up.
suicide run.
So like I mean the whole ion cannon, I made that up. Like I just was like, oh yeah, it obviously has some type of defensive measures, but would it have any defensive measures because it needed you to defend it? It probably has something minor.
Well, it probably
would you
has like
really leave?
it probably has like close and support weaponry. You know, like
Yeah, enough to do damage to you, but not to like an
Well,
asteroid.
like if something gets past its escorts
So it's like the last
to a
ditch.
limited degree, like I'm thinking of it kind of like.
Are you picturing just Tom Hanks like with the pistol?
What I'm thinking of is like I'm imagining like a U.S. Navy aircraft carrier. It's this massive show of offensive power.
Yeah.
But in itself, other than its aircraft, it has extremely limited defensive capabilities. It has destroyers and cruisers and fast attack submarines surrounding it that are its protection.
But its bulk is its real damage because
Yeah, you know, but
It's the fact that it's a moving airstrip to get bombers close to it.
Yeah, you know, and it relies on everything around it for its protection. And if something gets past that, it can defend itself to a degree.
So how are these things a
But-
threat aside from ramming speed? And if it's only a half hour away, is it are they that quick? Do they have like light speed? Is this a holdo maneuver? Like what are we talking about here?
Yeah, like I'm
There's-
not.
there's-
My
and
impression
this
was
is
that
why-
it was essentially a suicide run.
This is why sci-fi sometimes frustrates me to run, because there are so many variables that get put in place when you start dealing in like 3-dimensional, and in your case 4-dimensional, thinking structure.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't we just like move if it can't steer? Can't we just move the space station down a half mile?
Well, I mean, like that's the thing. Like you could.
Yeah, unless the space station is stationary, space stationary,
Oh, it's
That
which is what you write your goodbye letter on.
Or that it would just take so much effort and power to move it out of the orbit it's in.
Well, and the Admiralty, like the weird thing is that they're saying that the Admiralty is evil and they're an oppressive regime, right? But at this point,
They can't really afford to be because they're putting all their hopes on rejects.
but they can't afford to be anything besides that, really, right? Like you need that type of military structure in what is kind of a war for survival. Like you can't have a bunch of people having dissenting opinions when survival's on the line. It's one of those weird, like, the one time that being an autocracy works is in a crisis.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless
So
you're the ones perpetuating the crisis.
Well, yeah, that's right. That's why people manifest make crises for things so they can seize power, because it's the only time it actually really works.
yeah. Whereas, I mean, like in this, yeah, it's
It's survival, not ordering a pizza.
yeah, and you know, to touch on the why is a Leviathan a threat? Is just well, it's like how intelligent are they? What are they capable of other than just being a Leviathan?
And it doesn't actually say whether or not there are people in it. I assume that there are still people locked away, and then we came up with our own mythos, which I think is part of the fun of these playtests, is that you come up with your own mythology inside of here. And it really would have been great to have you in the previous one. I know you were working, but it would have been fantastic to have you because we forgave someone's broken heart. Did you watch it?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
You need to watch it. It was really good. Like we forgave their broken heart, and there was a bunch of girl-on-girl love, and like it was really adorable.
We did the whole, you don't have to be like your abusive father. You're better than him. Sort of thing.
Yeah. I gotta cry a little bit. It was good. You know how it is. I always cry during games. I was like, look what I can do on cue, guys. I just think about kicking my dog.
I don't think there's
See, it
any
makes me cry.
real way to move forward with forgiving it. Like, yeah, we could forgive it for trying to destroy humanity.
I mean, everybody can forgive that. Whatever.
Yeah, like we could forgive it for trying to destroy humanity, but at the end of the day, is that going to stop it from destroying humanity?
For now. Brum.
Yeah, 'cause
For
that's
now.
my thought, is that if it was deflected, then the real storyline would be our efforts among spreading information about the Naval Authority within the base.
But then that becomes a completely different game, right?
Yeah.
Than the mecha thing, because you don't even need the engines at that point, aside from that you're the only ones who can pilot them.
Because otherwise, it feels like you're getting away from the main point of this game, which is the role-playing, not the combat.
Mm-hmm.
And this module seems a bit maybe too focused on the stuff that would end up in combat. Maybe they don't intend it, but I think maybe they haven't realized necessarily that the majority of games we play like this are always end up in combat. They're very combat focused, right? Because that's kind of the
That's kind of a way role-playing games kind of developed.
yeah, it's like the main exciting part.
I mean, that's one of the big parts of D&D, for example. It's one of the big parts
Which
of a lot
makes
of...
it so fun when we do have the in-between games in generic that end up being like the shopping game, and it's just 3 hours of role playing.
Well, you guys have, like, in 2 nights, we're doing generic, and you guys have just leveled up, and it means you wanted... I asked you what you want to do after game, and you said you want to go to a spa.
Yeah.
So...
So we're gonna have a fun little romp somewhere that's not gonna really involve combat, probably.
Yeah, like
It's gonna be silly.
It's going to be so dumb.
On
It's gonna
one
be-
hand,
And that's a great deal of fun, but also our dungeon crawl and the fights and
That was exciting.
coming up against stuff it's exciting and powerful to really beat something.
like dealing 95 damage to a beholder in a single round
That was ridiculous.
felt amazing.
I am
but-
specifically finding things that you are less competent against. I'm targeting you.
Yeah,
yeah.
At this point, I kind of have to, because you're a Gloomstalker in another game too,
Yeah,
and
like-
they're
so broken.
he got bracers of archery.
I do too. See a sharpshooter?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you basically have the same build. It's just he has
We do.
tighter pants.
Yeah, basically.
Are you a
And
drow?
it's ridiculous.
No,
Okay.
she's
High elf?
she's-
Half elf?
No, she was a wood elf, but then she's from something called the Lashwood, which is like a Mirkwood.
Ah, okay.
Okay. But yeah, like dealing 95 damage in one round to a beholder is cool and all, but at the same time, a combat free or combat light episode is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like when we went into Draktoberfest, we had the giant combat to begin with, and then we went in and roleplayed the rest of the night.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you had the giant fight. There will probably be a couple of little fights or something like that.
And like that sort of thing is quite fun, having those little fights. But then having 1 or 2 episodes that is mainly dungeon crawling, puzzles, and fighting is a lot of fun to exercise different spells and
you guys,
abilities.
and
be kick-ass.
the thing is, I threw you up against so many things that if we were going by XP numbers, you're over halfway to level 9 already. Like I'm doing this by milestones for that game, but you guys, I mean, Caitlin, in a single session, they fought at level 7 a beholder and won, a number of magic traps, a gazer, a spectator, a clay golem,
Yeah, it was
two-
two gazers.
2 gazers,
3.
a clay golem, a Bodok the previous session, as well as a carrion crawler, or no, an unseen crawler, whatever, the gross guys, and then also a shield guardian. That was in a session and a half.
That's a lot of
and
XP.
5 mummies, and
The death gaze thing.
yeah, that was the Bodok.
Oh, that was what?
That's the Bodok. But those things, they're really low level, but they're amazing against... the challenge rating system is just broken. We can agree with that. But anyway, we're here for a playtest. So I think we should probably... so final thoughts, because we're not going to be back to Girl by Moonlight for a little while, unless we decide just to... Because they give you enough rules that you can make your own. Like, we could build our own magical girl game.
Are we out of focus? I'm just curious.
It keeps on.
But like
Redoing
we're not
it.
out of
Raise
focus.
your hand, Caitlin.
It keeps doing that. Actually, I've noticed it flicker a few times where it's refocused.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not quite sure why it's done it, but it kept redoing it. This is the first time it's stayed out of focus.
Mm-hmm.
That's weird.
Sorry.
No, that's very weird. Boop.
Oh, I wouldn't have done well on that roll. Glad that wasn't the roll I
shitty
used
roll.
to attack the Leviathan.
I mean, it would have been my role.
I just cycled the autofocus and that fixed it.
Oh, nice.
But so yeah. Overall, what do you think of the game? Give me. Do you want out of 10, or do you think
Out of 10 sounds good. I mean,
out of 10?
I think it's probably a 7 or an 8 with work.
Yeah. So yeah, round up to a completed product. Do you think?
Yeah.
So depending on what art they get, I'm willing to give. I think an 8 out of 10 for this.
Yeah. This is pretty
Yeah.
cool, and I'd be really interested in trying this out when it is fully done.
And I think it could get a higher score when it's done,
And I
for
think
sure.
if we built our own world too, just kind of like we did generic, honestly, on the fly. As stuff happened, we incorporated it into canon.
Mm-hmm.
That was quite a bit of fun and felt very natural. And I feel like this could be a lot of fun. I quite enjoyed our high school one.
I would love to take this and run Persona 5 through it.
Oh, that would
Yeah,
be cool,
basically.
Right?
Like, I feel like, done this game could be a lot of fun. Like, I really like the ideas behind it.
So good job, Andrew. Good job, Evil Hat. We'll keep playing and let us know when this comes out, because I think I'm gonna buy it, Mike's gonna buy it, Caitlin's gonna buy it, Christine lives with me, so we'll just share a copy. Sorry. But and then I think Amy and Winter both were interested in getting a copy too. So out of what is that? Out of math, out of 6 players. That's
5.
six of them want to have permanent access to this book.
And I think we know a lot of people who would
Yeah.
want to
Oh,
play
yeah.
this.
Alexa would buy it immediately.
Yeah.
I've got people in the chat right now saying that they would buy it. Give this game a play. Go and look at it on the Evil Hat website. They also have another game that's coming out soon that is in playtest that we have been approved to start doing playtest for as well.
Which one?
Demi-Humans,
Okay.
which it feels very changeling to me right now. So
Changeling.
yes, yeah, and I think its danger mechanics are maybe a little more formed. Like it's a little more like that, but I haven't had a chance to look at it. it's really great to see these types of games coming out, ones that have queer and LGBTQ in general, like
Just having it
representation.
worked
And
in.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's just a fact. Like that's it's some of the stuff that I've been working on recently has a lot more like neurodivergent inclusion as well, and it's just nice to have difference.
Well, it's kind of nice to just feel like it's just a normal part instead of having it reinforce the binary. Because a lot of games, you don't really feel like you can necessarily like nothing that it says against it, but you don't necessarily think of it to have a gay relationship or something in the game.
Or to have non-gender binary. Well, it's what I always ask when I have a new NPC show up. I often say, and like Alexa used to call me on this, and it was good that she did. But I'd say like, okay, is it a man or a woman? And she'd be like, or, and I'm like, yes, I know, but presentation style, like, help me out. But I always try to add like, or, like, just give me an approximation, like tall,
Can
like
we not tell? Is it just
androgynous? Is it
androgynous?
masculine and like what's going on here? Like let's figure this out and create a character. And I think that's really cool that we're doing that with games these days. And like Mike, you normally play women.
Yeah.
Yeah. And which is fine.
Well,
Like
yeah,
I don't think anybody should have a problem with that.
Like I play women in a lot of games because like I identify more with feminine stuff even though I identify as a man.
Yeah. Ditto, same.
Yeah, it's like
Well, I think in this setting it was easier to just be like, yeah, cool,
yeah.
and remember it. Whereas in Starfinder, I know I had to catch myself a few times.
What is my gender? Pilot.
Exactly. Like
What's between your legs? A mecha.
Exactly. You know, and it didn't feel like I had to think about it. It was just kind of there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, it wasn't like the cornerstone of a character on what's between the legs. It's just okay. Who's the character?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really nice. You know,
It's not what you are. It's what you do.
Exactly. So like I really liked that as well. I think that's a really neat thing to have in a game, and something that should be more commonplace in games all over the place. Like, oh,
yeah, like I think you just be whatever you want to be.
yeah,
And
like,
games like this are really good for people who are just coming out of the closet or just experimenting, and like they,
So have a safe place to experiment with that sort of stuff.
That's why so
it's
many-
incorporated in the game as normal.
so many people in the LGBTQ community use role-playing games, and that's why it's become such a major trend among people in the community to play these games, right? Because they can be whatever they want. It's just a game, kind of.
yeah, you know, like
And that's what life is.
like it should just be a game, and also as an avenue to help. You know, like if you haven't come out, or if you don't really know, who you are identifying as, like it's a nice avenue to be able to help figure that out for yourself. I mean, like I got misgendered the other day, and I thought that was just the wildest experience because it's never happened to me before, and I never thought that it would happen to me before, but it did.
My name's Kelly. It happens to me pretty often, mostly by the government. Did I tell you the time they misspelled my middle name to make it a feminine middle name?
Really?
Yeah, because my middle name's John, and I got letters sent to Kelly Joan, and I'm like,
Oh.
and then I called, and they're like, no, is Kelly there? Tell her it's okay. We're sending people. Like I've been on. I always answer spam calls with like, when people are like, oh, is Kelly there? I'm like, who's asking? Let me get them. Oh wait, it's me. It's a good dodge. I'll just say that.
Yeah, I just think it's a nice thing to have in the game, and I think it should be more commonplace to just have like identity as not a cornerstone of a character.
Aside from the character's identity. Yeah. No.
Oh.
I was being pedantic, so we're gonna forget about that. But yeah, so 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I'd say
in
solid 8 out of
Canada, that's like that's a solid A minus.
10. Yeah.
That's good. The grading scale is weird up here. I
It is
know
true.
I'm a professor, sort of. It's weird. I'm not. I'm on my contracts. Oh, I'm between contracts.
I was just after you writing up our grading scale today.
80 is an A minus is weird, but hey, it's an A minus. You get that from Canada. Good job. Here's your maple syrup. All right, and with that, I think this is a good place to end it. It's 10:03.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in. I hope that the people at Evil Hat liked this, liked our playtest, liked our goofing around these last 2 sessions. And I hope that Andrew Gillis finishes and that they make a ton of money in sales and that they make many more good games like this and other supplements. And maybe we'll do this again sometime.
If you run this on Kickstarter, I will back you definitely.
Yes.
Yes.
So, and let us know if
Do
you
it.
need names for credit. I don't know. Maybe you hate us because we didn't do the stuff right, but I don't know.
And for your book, your core book, please use nice paper and not the super cheap stuff.
If it comes straight out of Evil Hat, I'll show you. They use the same paper as they do in Blades in the Dark, and it's nice.
Nice.
We've had a bunch of bad Kickstarters recently. Oh, I had to show you my new Kickstarters that came in today. But I just got Gene Funk. So thank you very much for tuning in. This has been Dork Tales. We will see you tomorrow night for Monster Hunter Academia, the sequel to a game that we started 5 months ago, and then everybody got sick with the September Plague. I kind of remember what happened. It involved jazz and monsters. And then on Wednesday, don't forget to tune in for Generic Fantasy Setting number 17735. But wait, that's not all. On Saturday, return into Ravenloft with Curse of Strahd episode 2, which might have a bit of a dungeon crawl. We will see you later. We're getting spoopy up in here.
It's October. It's nearly October time to get spoopy.
And for when this is up on YouTube, like and subscribe and smash that bell like a raging barbarian. And with that, say goodnight to Charlie.
Oh,
Dun dun dun.
Yeah, basically.